As a result, games that I used to have a bunch of fun with have become very frustrating, serious endeavors. So I'm a bit conflicted here. So I once again decided to ask my friends how competitiveness has affected gaming. Do you think the shift towards competitive multiplayer games also had an impact on what we consider to be like
this is 100 repair parts
games as a whole?
That is so expensive.
I think sometimes some of the most unbalanced games were like the most fun, whereas like you don't see that as often anymore. Like Modern Warfare 2 was so horribly balanced. Like it was so bad.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun too.
I don't know how One Man Army made it into the game.
One Man Army was
and even, you know, I'll be honest, like they definitely crossed the line in a few places where
crossed the line.
It would have still been more fun to just have that gone. But like maybe it was like just that they erred on the side of things being fun in their mind. Like they're like, this would just be fun that people can do this even though it's broken. Whereas now they're like, hey, like if it's not balanced and we can't make an esport out of it, how are we gonna, you know, compete with? They're trying to like monetize that. There's a lot of money in esports, right? Esports is blown up, just like the entire gaming industry.
No, there isn't.
Reason
no, it hasn't.
The world around you's changed. As a kid, I'm sure 90% of
esports blew up and died. Yeah.
Even in your teenage years, you had maybe
as it should have
sports and maybe a job that hardly ever take up your time, but you'd usually have enough time to hop on with your friends and relax. But as an adult now, you have a bunch of shit to worry about: paying rent, all of your other bills, friendships, keeping up with your family, your significant other. There's a bunch of stuff to take up your time, and honestly, it can be a bit overwhelming. A lot of the people I grew up with now are getting married, getting a mortgage, and having kids. My point is that everything that you didn't have to worry about as a kid is finally becoming something that you do have to worry about, and it's somewhat easy to feel weighed down by it. Personally speaking, trying to relax has now become more of a task than it is to actually work on something.
That's gonna get me engineering 41.
Just can't distract me enough to stop me from just wanting to get back to what I need to do. The
or no, music. 154 music. Nice.
Always seemed like the best move anymore. This subject is unfortunately one that I couldn't even try to prove if I wanted to. It remains a personal diagnosis
50 hours,
for
60 out of 5.
And I personally feel that the increased stress of being an adult has without a doubt impacted my ability to enjoy a game. Reason 3. The games themselves have changed. A common argument in the gaming community is if the quality of video games themselves have changed as a whole, and there's definitely an argument to be made for both sides. When it comes to a technical aspect, there is no argument that can be made against gaming being better than ever. I mean, just look at the most recent games coming out. The level of detail is on an entirely different level. So I think this argument is more so held on a level of gameplay, and that's where things get a little bit dicey, and to be honest, it comes down to personal preferences, and I don't really think the gameplay has changed too much in the last 10 years. The only huge change to the industry in the past maybe 5 or 10 years was Fortnite, and generally the switch to free-to-play models of video games, which I really don't think are going to last too much longer. Outside of that, Call of Duty has somehow gotten worse, but they still get the same numbers they used to, Minecraft is still live, and story-based games still make a huge impact, so to be honest, since roughly 2010, I don't think things have changed all that much from a gameplay perspective. However, looking from a broader scope, there's definitely a more substantial deviation in game design from the PS3 and onwards. Previously to the popularization of Unreal Engine and Unity, many games had incredibly unique art styles and direction. This was a result of games having to make custom engines as a result of not having a universal option, and so from a visual perspective, so many of the PS2 era games had just such incredibly distinct graphics, physics, and animation, whereas now we live in an era where asset flips can exist, and nearly 30% of games are made with Unity, and 50% of mobile games are made with Unity. Another point I want to touch on is that honestly, gaming seems to be a touch less original than it once was. This largely boils down to an overarching issue with the gaming industry, which is the corporatization of gaming in general. Now, that's a pretty vague thing to throw out there, but let me elaborate a little bit. In the past, there were a few games that devs could throw out every single year, but the concept of annually released series like say Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed have become a more so recent thing, and both of which have been drastically hurt by this. Right now, more than ever, games are being rushed, and more importantly, giving deadlines that are more important than the quality of the games themselves. Of course, all of these issues had occurred before the modern era of gaming, but there's no denying that AAA games now more than ever have corporate involvement. Once again, I decided to ask Chase for some input.
Do you think it's fair to say that the corporatization of video games, which really started in like the PS3 era, may have had a substantial impact on gaming?
Definitely, in terms of like what I talked about earlier about like games losing their soul. It's just straight up a business, and like a business is supposed to make money. They see like what worked, and then they try to copy it, and it's like whatever it is that makes the most money. But they're not like thinking, man, I love this game. This is like a game that we're all passionate about. What is something like the best version of itself that it could be? Like because you love the art, like you have like a vision for the game. It's more like, hey, what should we do here? Well, Fortnite did this, and look how much money they made. Oh yeah, let's do that. That's a lot of companies will rush. The games will get rushed. It's like the developers don't want to have to rush it. That's I guess that's another thing, bro. Like when I was a kid, games didn't have updates. And that's a huge difference in terms of like the quality of games that we're getting. At least with like, I feel like when a game comes out now, it's like wait a year. So to your original question, yeah, the corporatization of gaming, definitely, that's like a big downside.
A very interesting point Chase brings up here is the addition of updates to the video game world, which previously to this, video game studios had to fully prepare a game to be as bug-free as possible since there weren't any do-overs whatsoever. And while I certainly won't argue with you that the ability to add content to a game several years after it's released is amazing, and the ability to add, say, like an emergency balance patch has just only made games better, it's also opened the door to laziness. Of course, shitty game releases have always happened, but more so now than ever. If it was impossible to update Cyberpunk 2077 after it released, do we really think it would have been released in the state that it was? Probably not. The mere fact that I can buy a game that has put out gameplay trailers and just get a game that doesn't even slightly resemble it and is a buggy, poorly made mess is just baffling when you're talking about studios like CDPR, or even Bethesda, or literally every goddamn Battlefield game in existence. It's honestly gotten to a point where most people are reasonably refusing to pre-order games, and for pretty good reason. So from some people's perspectives, not only are the games less visually distinct, but you're also running the risk of buying a $60 unplayable nightmare. But it's time to finally ask an important question. Why is it so bad if games change? That's the natural evolution of things, of course. It's going to evolve, and it will continue to do so. Of course, there are a few downsides we just went over, but there are also a ton of positives too. The era of DLC has allowed games to stay relevant for a far longer period of time, and some DLC content ranks amongst the best stuff ever made. Games shouldn't always feel the same. To someone who grew up with an Atari, PS2 games might not have been the same to them. There are a ton of people who just stopped playing games once there were more than 2 buttons on a controller. If anything, the gaming industry needs innovation now more than ever, and I think this question more so implies that you feel gaming is now specifically different from when you were a kid. Overall, I think it's fair to say that gaming has changed.
Yeah,
in many
some
ways
good
improved,
points
but
in
others
this.
declined.
Yeah.
But the concept of age seems to be the common thread through all of this. Every single gamer I talk to usually talks about gaming as a past tense, especially in reference to their teenage or childhood years. The same way that
Past
someone might
tense.
talk about movies being better when they were a kid, and the same thing with music. My point is that
I
everything
love
changes,
the
and to
modern
argue that better
age.
is a useless,
I
arbitrary
totally
thing to do, but
disagree.
this directly
That's
leads into my
weird.
biggest point. Reason 4.
I'm so happy with modern gaming after 24 started, after 23 ended, and after the like last year we got some good games. We got some really good games. There was Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield hit, but it's not, cooked yet. There was New World was just New World. There was Angry Earth. There was Horizon, FFXI for me. WoW got sawed and hardcore took off. There was a lot of really good stuff in my estimation. EVE Online's doing the best it's ever done. It's sitting up at 30,000, which is the most it's ever had. It's doing so good. And and I think, man, it wasn't like that early quarter 2023. We were all like, oh my god, is PAX Day coming yet? Is Ashes of Creation coming yet? Come on, there's no good games, there's nothing to do, we're so bored, we're all hunting for games and all this. I'm not hunting for games anymore. There's more than I can get around to. 76 has just been fucking great. We're about to get another fucking Atlantic City DLC that may or may not be very good. Fallout 4 is about to get a remaster, and that's only early quarter 24. Enshrouded is due in a week, which is going to make some waves. I know Enshrouded is going to make some waves. I like Enshrouded. I think it's going to be a good game. Some would say there were some really good releases last year, such as Sons of the Forest. BG3 was a revolution in sex games. There was Remnant 2, Lies of P. I'm trying to think of other new games that I played that I liked, that I bought that was new. I'd have to look at my list. Let's see, but I gotta make sure I'm still farming yet. Hey, let's go look at my list. Was there anything I'm missing? Mortal 2, kind of like went Unreal Engine 5, which was a good thing for the game. It's probably way better now. Mortal Online 2 might really be a good game to look into now on with the borderless gaming. I wonder if I can get that game to run better. That would be really good if I could get Mortal 2 to run better. Yeah, we got Neverwinter patch and all this, so I'm not gonna play it now, but I got it up and running. What else did I buy last year? Right, there was all these amazing sales. Summer and winter sales were amazing, just amazing. Looking for newer titles. Fallen Earth Classic. Oh, this is the Fallen Earth Classic thing? Oh, Fallen Earth Classic. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. What does the gameplay look like in that? Enter Budney. Oh, yeah, it's an old survival game, is it? What is this game and why is it on my list? It's weird. I don't know why it would be on my list. But anyways, what else came out last year that I bought? Of course, Remnant 2. I didn't like it as much as everybody else did. And Russ just killed it last year. We got trains and tugboats. Really big fucking like difference in the gameplay. Trains changed my life kind of. Definitely. Trains were a really big formative thing for me. And looking through for new games, I think some would say that V Rising was fairly good. That came out in early 20. Oh no, that was 22. Sorry, that was a fairly good game for 22. But yeah, yeah, and that's it for me. I didn't buy a lot of games this year, actually. Not as much as I thought I did. I bought a bunch of old games and got them into my my collection. I've not been. I'm now a digital collector of video games, as you can see. I've got quite a lot. I mean, a lot of these are cheaper free, but a bunch of them are expensive. Naraka Blade Point came out, and people like Naraka Blade Point. They really do. You can see it. I thought it was a good game, but it wasn't my game. But yeah, people like Naraka Blade Point. BattleBit Remastered hit. I think Hi-Fi Rush hit this year. That was a good game. Warframe seems to be kicking ass today, but that's not what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at sellers. I'm looking for most played. Counter-Strike 2 hit. That's a really big game. Grand Theft Auto 5 got its big RP revolution, so it's sitting at number 5, and a lot of people are into this right now. So that was Resurrection. It was a good year. I'm not hunting for games. There's plenty to play. The finals hit. I thought the finals was good. There's still some games kicking ass in the background, like Unturned and DayZ are doing really well. Monster Hunter World experienced a big resurgence, so like I should technically buy this game, but I don't like BAMs and I don't like fighting bosses. I don't like fighting bosses. It's not my favorite gameplay. It's stupid stressful when it doesn't need to be. It's repetitive and stupid. They always pounce on you and stupid ass repetitive shit, and I don't know, it's just not my gameplay, but I know that that's a good game and it's experiencing a big fucking resurgence. There's and that's and then Cyberpunk got it's look, it's already dead again, but Cyberpunk got its big what's it called, DLC that people are still playing. And and then there was a lot of really, I think Zomboid hit this year, didn't it? I think, or maybe that's been out for a year. I don't know, 2 years, something. But yeah, there's like a lot of new stuff here that hit in the last like 18 months, definitely. A lot of really good stuff. New World's sitting right about where it's been sitting. It's kind of interesting, which is good. I think it kind of leveled out, and it turned out to be a far more niche game than they wanted it to be. But it struggled with its identity. I wish they left it full loot drop. I think I would have been absorbed in this game, and it would have changed my life full loot shop would have been so good. Like, you don't leave the town with anything but whites, and when you do get a kill, you bring the shit back, and you can teleport to dungeons, you can teleport to your camp, and you can teleport to, like, you know, to towns, and then go out the zone and flag when you reach your destination from your camp. But, like, other than that, you know, you can travel safely till you get where you need to level, but at that point it should force you to flag when you go in the monument, in my opinion. There was all this stuff that they could have done that they didn't, that I wish they had done to force these people to play with us. And look, it's sitting niche. It's New World sat niche. And it's sitting niche, and it's like a niche game. It's weird. Look, it's got niche numbers. Like it immediately pulled the same numbers as EVE Online. Now, EVE Online has done better than New World, which is crazy. A 20-year-old game is doing better than New World. But I mean, you know, they know what their niche is. These people also, keep in mind, New World is also, not all the people who bought New World did it on Steam, so it's not totally dead. It's something like more, probably like 36,000 or something like that, maybe 40. So it's not doing that bad. It's sitting up here in terms of Steam statistics. It's actually in the top 40. It's like New World is still a contender. We don't know what the numbers are, but it's not dead, you know, which is good. Like, the same amount of people playing Elden Ring right now are the same amount of people playing New World. And you get an example of how really successful New World was. You know, it's up there with the top game of all time. It's a top 100 game. It was okay. They got the big money from both the investors and the buyers. You know, in terms of success, I think you could call New World a success, because when you think about how much money they pulled and what they did with it and what they're supplying in return and everything, I think you could say they're doing pretty well. And they already have other game. The AGS already has other game companies. Other games coming on the way. And so mastering New World feels good to me, because I think they're about to take this combat system to a Lord of the Rings game, and that game might be really fucking good. You know, I don't know. So my appreciation of New World has not made me feel nervous. You know, I think like the time I spent on it does not make me feel nervous. Ashes of Creation and PAX Day would make me feel nervous. Sons of the Forest would make me feel nervous. Anything new that's trying to suck my soul away for months on end makes me fucking nervous. New World made me nervous. It took me 2 solid years to get over the fucking New World hump. I was like, I don't know. If I give you my heart, will you break it? It was literally like that for me for a long time. I'm like, if I give you my heart, will you break it? Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. You know, don't break my heart. My achy gamer heart. You just don't think you'd understand. And if you make this game any worse than it already is, I just don't think I'll play it anymore. But if you keep it going at this steady pace, and you bring people to the public race, I'll keep playing your stupid game, and I'll act like it's a good game, and I'll put it in my stream title and act like it exists. Don't break my gamer heart. My achy, breaky gamer heart. Please don't break my heart, New World. I really don't want you to break my heart. Please don't break my heart. I don't think my heart can fucking take it right now. And I'm so scared you've done it before. You're like a bad romance. I can see fucking, what's her name? Alejandro. Damn it. Poker face. Lady Gaga. I just don't think Lady Gaga'd understand. Your bad romance is a bad romance, and it's really hard to love this game. But I think that I want to hold its hand and carry it into the future, and hopefully it'll carry me into the future. And I don't really love you, but I want to fuck you till someone better comes along. So please don't break my heart, my achy breaky fart. I'm gonna fucking fuck you till somebody better comes along. At least I'm honest. Yep, dump. All of it. Yay, we're down to 106 pounds. Let's go. We're going back out. Gonna go farming. Gotta get more money. Already blew 3 grand. It's like totally gone already. I'm back up at 500 again. I blew 3 grand of it. So, but yeah, we gotta get back up again, and that sucks. I don't want to go to the same camp that I just went to. I'm gonna flip it up each time, right? So yesterday I noticed that there was a lot of fucking bananas at this place. I think, yeah, wasn't it this one? Fairly fucking sure. Was it this place? No, I don't know. Maybe it was the island. I don't know. One of these places has a fuck ton of bananas. I think it was this one. Fairly sure. This shit is bananas. $2.46 a banana. This shit is bananas. 2 gold 46 a banana. You can get them fast. Watch. This camp is bananas. BANANAS. How many bananas do I get? Look, it's oh, that wasn't bananas. Come on, bananas, damn it. There, 2 gold 46 right there, sold. Good camp. Like, give me more. Give me. So we're gonna go proficiency, so we get more bananas, right? Then we're gonna go lumber food. The next bit of gold that I spend is gonna be on salted poultry with cabbage, which is always fun. That shit's like goddamn 100 gold per or whatever. You know, sometimes anyways. I don't know what it's charged right now, but sometimes it's like 100 gold a meal. It's like goddamn fucking sirloin steak, fucking, you know, what do they call that shit? Tiramisu or, you know, fucking sashimi, you know? Fucking expensive. Fucking stupid logging food is not cheap. It's like not cheap. It's like between $20 and $100 a meal. And a meal's only half an hour, and then you're hungry again like crack. And you're like, fuck, I need more crack for my trees. For my tree chopping. Need more crack for my tree chopping fuel. Tree chopping crack. God damn it. Die. Stupid pig. Okay,
You've changed. You
yeah,
as a
I have
person
changed.
don't
I
miss the
have.
way games were
I've
when you were a
changed.
kid.
I
Totally.
don't look at them the same way. I don't look at like, oh, I have to experience this new thing and I'm going to see what innovative thing they do or any of that stuff. I don't care about that. I feel like I've seen it all. My thing is can it keep me engaged on a never-ending fucking loop that makes me feel like a big fucking man when I'm done with it?
The games may have changed slightly or even
I
drastically
am a
in
big man, yes I am, and I've got a big gun. Got me a big goat dick, and I plan to have fun. Got me a big dick, and blah, 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 blah. I can't say any more without getting demonetized, sorry. But that's a Nine Inch Nails song, just so you understand. It's not me trying to be all gross and porny. That's just a Nine Inch Nails song I'm singing.
opinion, but I'm betting a substantial amount of money that you miss how you felt playing those games as a kid. With nothing to worry about, no money issues, no relationship problems, just simpler, easier times. And of course, gaming can't just bring that back. You've changed more than gaming did. A lot of people acknowledge the existence of nostalgia, but very few people understand exactly why we experience it. Nostalgia is quite literally a mental defense mechanism against loneliness, and it works fucking wonders. Nostalgia is most commonly experienced.
That's very deep. The nostalgia combating the loneliness thing was deep. I liked it. I liked it. And I'm gonna say that. The nostalgia combating loneliness was very deep. I applaud you, sir. Never thought of it that way. Worthy of a Harvard Med paper. Rats off to you. Absolutely.
by a substantial amount. It mostly comes up in times where people were depressed and can often lessen these effects. Nostalgia
Yeah,
often brings your
fuck
brain
nostalgia. I don't have it. I don't long for my high school girlfriend's blowjobs. I don't fucking long for my high school. I don't long for my high school friends. Don't talk to them. I don't fucking, you know, I don't fucking long for, I long for high school drugs. Oh god, the drugs were so good. But that's about it. Like, you know, I don't live in the fucking past. I never have and never will. And everybody's like, what, you don't live in the past? Like, you don't watch the same movies? And like, no, man, I'm like, you know what I do when I lie in bed, when I go to bed at night? I like get on Netflix and I'm like, seen it. And it's because I just watch everything that's new. Everything that's new. I don't care what it is. It's like, frankly, like whatever it is. If it I don't watch everything that's new. I watch anything that can pique my interest that's new. And that's very weird. And I'm the same way with games, and I'm the same way with books, I'm the same way with music, and I'm the same way with drugs. I'm the same way with women, and I'm the same way with like everything. And I don't you know, I don't live in this member-berry. I want to go back to 2004 from the last time I got a high school blowjob and all that shit. I don't want, like, Lord Deliver Me from 2004. It is a reoccurring theme on my stream. I talk about it a lot. Reoccurring theme on the stream. Lord Deliver Me from 2004. Now, nostalgia being a direct combat to loneliness is a really beautiful point. Let's put, you know, okay, you know what I used to do? I used to put on Lord of the Rings because I was very nostalgic for a time in my life when I used to watch Lord of the Rings a lot with my friends, you know? So, like, we would get drunk and put on Lord of the Rings at 4:30 in the morning. It was a very standard thing for us to do, you know? Put on Two Towers, something. Who the fuck cares? Watch Gandalf fall down the fucking well, you know? Whatever. Or the Moria mine. So down the mine shaft, you know? And loved it. And so then later on, I equated Christmas with Harry Potter, and I related to drinking on holidays and all this other weird shit. And I would say that having that nostalgia, when I gave it up, I became a much happier person, because there was times when I was like, oh, I didn't watch Harry Potter this Christmas, or I didn't watch Lord of the Rings again, or I didn't, I think it was because I got happy, I think. I used to watch a lot of the same shit over and over and over again. When I got happy, I kind of stopped doing that. I watched Breaking Bad over and over and over again. I watched House MD over and over and over again. I watched The Office over and over and over again. I watched Better Call Saul over and over again. I watched the last season recently because I hadn't seen it. And like I realized I had seen Better Call Saul like 6 times, except for the last season. Now that one I've only seen once, and now I've got a weird thing where I've seen Better Call Saul 5 times, but I've only seen the last season once, you know, and it was a tearjerker, fucking tearjerker. And I watched Battlestar Galactica like 7 times. I watched The Office like 15 or 20 times. I watched the Law and Order, all of them, from Law and Order original, CI, SVU, all of them like 15, 20 times, something like that. I had a certain taste that I was into. There's certain other shows I watched like 6 times. There was a show with Stephen Fry called Kingdom that my mother and I watched like 3 times each. There was a show called Wire in the Blood that I watched like 20 times. Touching Evil was the same actor. I watched Touching Evil like 20 times. Touching Evil was an extremely fucking formative show for me. There's stuff in Touching Evil that I would like to inflict upon the world that serial killers did. You know, and it sounds twisted, but it's not killing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about weird social manipulations and engineering and stuff that serial killers did that had nothing to do with their killing, that didn't harm anybody. It was just the way that they, you know, the way that they dealt with the world. And like Touching Evil was all about that. What do cults think when they're convincing people to drink the Kool-Aid? Shit like that. That was the stuff that Touching Evil talked about. It was very, very good. Profiling. I've seen Mindhunter like 6 times. I've seen old ones, like, right? I could go through my television thing, but I'd have to do it privately. But like, there's a certain batch of shows that I watch over and over and over again. I must have watched the Count of Cagliostro like 15 times. Lupin the Third. I watched Fooly Cooley like 25 times. I watched like Neon Genesis Evangelion like 25 times, Trigun like fucking 25 times or something like that. Samurai Champloo like 25 times. Must have seen Inuyasha all the way through, and I went through the whole anime phase, and then I just left that. I never looked back. I watched Big O like 20 times or something like that. I watched Batman the Animated Series like 50 times all the way through. Like, I have definitely, like, since I was a kid, I've been watching Batman the Animated Series. And something happened when I got my brain damage, I also got happy. It's crazy, but I did. I had the best relationship of my life. It was also the worst one, but it was also the best. It was like the best relationship of my life. I loved that girl, and I still do. And like fucking the best relationship of my life, and you couldn't even call it one per se. We lived in the same bed in the same house for a year, and just her and I. That's it. We didn't really talk to anybody. We didn't do anything, and it was just crazy, and it was the best relationship of my life, but it was also the worst. And not because of her, but because of me, the shit I was going through, because of my drug addictions and the man trying to kill me and all this other shit. And it was just weird, like, there was all these patterns and things that I used to do when I was unhappy, like watch the same television over and 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 over again. So now, okay, I've seen The Simpsons like 50 times. I've seen the Futurama 50 times, and so it's affected me so fucking badly now that honestly, if you don't speak in show memes, I know the current internet speaks in memes. Like my ex-girlfriend, she spoke in memes. She sent me memes all the time. She sent me memes like all day. She would send me memes, and like and I maybe sent her 2 memes in my entire life or something, probably more than that, like probably like 20 or something, but still like not many. And I just don't live by memes. I don't care about memes. I don't think about them. But the memes for me, they were like the jokes from The Simpsons, the jokes from Futurama, the jokes from Disenchantment, the jokes from Family Guy, the jokes from fucking South Park, the jokes from all the adult cartoons like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Tom Goes to the Mayor, all those fucking random ones and all that. And I love those, and I live off those, and I've seen all those like fucking 5-10 times each, and I really lived by those shows. But there was this point where like when I wiped out on the fucking moped going like 40, and I bit it, and I wiped out the left side of my orbital fucking brain, fractured my orbital fucking thing, and all this other shit, and lost like 30% of my hearing for about a year, and got brain damage and retrograde amnesia and all this. I noticed that I was a happier person. The 2 years after it were the worst 2 years of my life, but I was a happier person afterwards. I was happier when I was with her. I was happier when, like when I was high and I was going through the rock bottom. I was happier though. I was still happier. And up until the brain damage, I don't think I was a happy person. I think it took the brain damage to, like, I'm not saying go get brain damage, kids. I'm really not. I'm saying don't ever get brain damage. Your mind is the most precious thing that you can ever have. Don't ever waste it. But I mean, I lost some of my weird personality. I gained a lot of things and I lost a lot of things, and it was a formative experience for me. I didn't lose a lot of my faculties. I lost a bit of my physique, and I have some broken body and broken bone stuff going on, but like I don't have like any real lasting repercussions from it. I was able to heal, I would say, primarily most of it. I have a little bit of hearing damage, which is why I talk so loudly, and I have definitely some brain damage, and I've definitely been, I've been since I was born, I've been on the spectrum, And so, I don't know, like, it's a lot to deal with. And I know that, like, something fundamentally changed. And the last thing that I ever want to do anymore is friendships. I want a relationship, but I don't want friendships. And the last thing that I want to do anymore is watch the same television or be around the same people or listen to the same music or like watch the same television. I flipped to YouTube and I was like, oh good, YouTube will always give me brand new random stuff no matter what forever, I think. And I was like, oh, good, because I'm so sick of fucking scripted. I don't want scripted anymore. I'm sick of the same bullshit fucking one-liners. I'm sick of the same jokes. I'm sick of the, you know, the same fucking catchy stuff that all my best friends say when we're hanging out with each other. I'm sick of the fucking, like, the memes. I'm sick of the internet humor and all this other stuff. And I'm random, but I'm a different style of random now where it's got to be interesting. And I don't know what to do about all of it. I don't like this guy is he's talking about it's something has changed within me. Yeah, I just stopped being unhappy. And I think it's very, very, very difficult to engage in true valuable recreation. Be it video games, be it sex, be it playing chess, be it you know D&D, or maybe you like doing word puzzles. My mom likes to do Scrabble or whatever, words with friends or whatever, like, you know, whatever it is that you like to do. It is his realization, and he thinks that nostalgia is the solution to loneliness, and he's obviously lonely. So or I don't know if he's lonely. Maybe I shouldn't put words in his mouth. But in my estimation, when he talks unhappily like this, I think he's an unhappy person. He's an unhappy boy. And that's unfortunate that he's unhappy. I've been there a lot. For many, many years, I was unhappy. All my heroes were dead. All the lead singers of the bands that I love were dead. My life was a mess. My relationships were a mess. I was a complete man whore for like 5 years. I didn't have good relationships. I was a drug dealer and all these things. And I went through a lot of barriers and bad problems. And at the end of it, I was like, well, I learned a lot about myself, but what I do know is if it's the same thing over and over and over again, I can't do it anymore. It actually is the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, like watching Breaking Bad 10 more times, isn't gonna fucking make me happier. There's this point where you have to break the idiosyncratic fucking we used to call them semantic blockage. You have to break the semantic blockage and begin to chase newer patterns and newer cycles and things that make you feel happier. Maybe it's a new marriage, maybe it's a new girlfriend, maybe it's a new boyfriend, maybe it's a new dog, maybe it's weather change, maybe it's a cycle change or a circadian rhythm change, maybe it's a job change. Like me, for me, it was a mixture of a job change, getting sober, a relationship change. Like okay, all my life I took care of girls. Like I can tell you right now what my favorite thing in all of fucking Final Fantasy is, right? And I used to tell this to my friend Ailey a lot. I was like, protect girls, right? Protect girls, right? It's from Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9. Protect girls, damn it. Protect girls. That's like, I mean, it's in my DNA to do so. Protect girls was such a cool ability for Zidane. It's what I stand for. It's like my core idol, my core idol, idolatry, or my core fiber of my being is protect girls. It's a support ability in Final Fantasy IX for Zidane. It is this version of cover. It's a paladin cover that only triggers on female allies, and that's me. I don't protect men, and they can fend for themselves and shit. My thing was protect girls. It's called White Knight Syndrome. It's disgusting. It destroys your fucking life. You put women above yourself always. You treat them like they're a drug and you fiend for them. You obsess and you text too much and you smother. You put them above you on a pedestal that they can't possibly live up to. And all these other stupid ass problems that you can't stop doing because you're not particularly happy. when you're particularly happy, you don't engage in this sort of behavior. You're just sitting there, like, smiling, looking at the world, like, hey, it's cool, you know? You're not thinking about calling or texting or any of that stuff, and I guess if you are, you do. But I mean, like, it's not like this stress thing of smothering them or any of this other shit like that it used to be for me now. Like, and it's weird because all the changes, and this is something else that's fundamentally true for me, that I also had to, like, really come to grips with. It was the death of the barrier curse in a way, is what killed it in the end, was understanding that you can't be successful in everything and that you should always try, but like, if something looks familiar, then something's wrong. Like, if you aren't trying something new and innovative all the time in your life, if you aren't trying a new flavor of ice cream or coffee, if you aren't doing something new all the time, if your life is the same repetitions over and over, this guy's point in this video was, like, if you are, and it was a deep one, if you are sad or lonely, nostalgia will fix your problem for a time, but it's a fake sort of solution. And it was a deep point. I liked it, and I made a comment in the video about this. But I think a deeper thought would be, if you are mired in repetition all the fucking time to the point where you are unhappy all the time, no video game is gonna be fun for you. Which is a more core problem than nostalgia solving the loneliness or unhappiness issue. The more core problem is if you're unhappy, it's going to be a lot. As a psychiatrist or a debater, I would fence back with the point that I would try to slaughter his. I could see him writing. The comment I made on his paper was, Harvard. You can write a Harvard medical paper about this. You could, and so how I would write a counter thesis or something to this. I would say, well, you shouldn't ever worry about nostalgia fixing your loneliness or sadness problems, or perhaps you're dealing with a death or something bad in your problem or in your life, some kind of problem in your life. Nostalgia may not always, nostalgia may fix it for a time, but it is not a permanent solution to it. Money isn't a solution to it. To fill that hole in your soul, you must get happy again. And in my experience, that is breaking out of the fucking rusted wheel, the rusted wheel that can't move. You know, the Silver Sun pickup said it the best. Like, it's a rusted wheel that can't, that's rusted still, and it can't move. And if your wheel can't move because you don't have enough new stimulation at all times, new food, new people, new job, change is good as the rest. It's in our DNA imperative to be nomads and moving around all the fucking time. And I think that the real problem is these people are playing the same games over and over and over and over again, trying to make them be a lifestyle like me. But the problem is they're unhappy. If you're gonna do that, you must find some way to be happy doing it. And what games was he talking about? Like stuff like COD. Yeah, COD was a Halicon Days of Our Youth game, but it'll never be like that ever again. One thing I am certain of is history doesn't repeat itself unless it's tragedy. You know, history doesn't repeat itself unless it's tragedy. Good stuff doesn't repeat itself almost ever. It's like you have to go out and find new stuff. Like, we are always moving towards the moon and away from the cave, and like repeating history does not solve it in any way or fucking form. Living in extraterrestrial, and you only watch Lucasfilm movies, and you only watch the same boomer television, and you only go to the same places, and you only hang out with the same fucking people, and you only live in the same fucking house your whole fucking life, like Asmongold. I would say that, like, you are the reason that Asmongold has like $100 million but he can't smile is because nothing in his life changes ever. Nothing in his life changes. Nothing. And this is the problem. This kid is proposing that we're hunting through back catalogs trying to fix our problem with nostalgia. My point is like, you can't find anything in your past except the grave. That's it. The only thing in the past is your grave. That's it. The future is the only way you can stay alive. You must change and adapt like Darwinism. You must evolve all the time. Your music must be getting better. Must reach out to you more. Your every song that you listen to must be better than the last one. It must sound better than the last song did. Every game must be better than the last one that you played. Every television show must be better than the last one you watched. Every fucking relationship that you have must be better than the last one you had. Every fucking job that you had must be better than the last one you had. It's a sick, sad, fucked up part of reality. It's hard to understand, and I'm not fucking Confucius or whatever. I'm not trying to spit some fucking Dalai Lama shit. I'm just trying to tell you how important it is. Like, change is as good as the rest. It's all good for something. You think of it as like maybe it's taking risk, and risk is bad, but no, even the risk is good. It's all good for something. It's all good for something. Even the risk, even the knowledge of swinging and failing. You know, you're a loser, but at least you tried. You don't want to be the spectator. You want to be the one who tried and took the swing and asked the girl out and failed and got laughed at, then not asking her out at all. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So it's like where am I going with this? It's like nostalgia. It won't fix it. South Park had it right with the member berries. E.T. is not going to fix your fucking problems. Neither will bringing Gollum to the video game screen. Neither will rehashing 50 billion fucking MCU fucking storylines. That's stuff of your youth. It will bring you nowhere. That stuff is best left to people who have never seen it before. That's something new to them. If you've watched Marvel movies all your fucking life, that's best left to people who've never seen Marvel movies. You should go watch some French art house films right now today. You should go watch some, okay, my ex-girlfriend surprised me. She stepped to me and she was like, you should watch Martyrs. You should watch Martyrs. And I'm like, okay, what's Martyrs? And I'll tell you what Martyrs is. Martyrs is a psychological horror film written and directed by Pascal Laguier, a French director. And it was the plot is young Lucy Jurin in 1971 escapes from a disused slaughterhouse where she has been imprisoned and tortured for more than a year. She is placed in an orphanage where she befriends Anna Asali, who quickly discovers that Lucy believes she is being tormented by a disfigured demonic woman. Now I'm going to leave it there because it gets darker and it's not appropriate content for a video game stream. But this was like essentially, my ex-girlfriend hits me with this. It was like essentially a snuff film. It was not a snuff film at all, but it played out like a torture snuff film. It was like 2 hours of a leather beating, torture a poor girl to death, fucked up fucking snuff film. But there was no death in it. I mean, there was some horror and death in it, but there wasn't any more than, say, Halloween or something like that. There wasn't any more death than any other horror film, right? But it was a demented, fucked up, like S&M torture film. And I was very surprised that my best friend, who was into cutesy princess movies and stuff, and this is kind of personal, but not really. Her taste in movies probably isn't personal or whatever. So and she hits me with this S&M Sato leather mascus movie, and I'm surprised by the movie the whole way through until I see the end, which was like one of the best sci-fi endings I've ever fucking seen on film. And I was not surprised that she liked the film so much. And she was like, the end will mind fuck you. And I was like, good. I like that. I like M. Night Shyamalan endings and stuff, right? And this surprised me. And the reason that it surprised me is I knew that she liked movies like Black Swan, but which made sense. But I didn't know she liked that movie like Martyrs, and she was like, this is one of my favorite films. And I'm like, okay, this was a really strange film to really love. But then I got it, and I was like, at the end of it, I was like, I know why she liked this so much. It's because she never has and never will see anything like this ever again. And there hasn't been another movie like it ever, like Martyrs, ever and ever again. I don't think so. There's been a few kind of like inner space and stuff like that, but there hasn't been movies like Martyrs, really. Maybe M. Night Shyamalan movies are kind of like them, but it's like, it's not very common style, that movie Martyrs. And so like, and I was not surprised in the end. And I was like, I really like that you went outside the box and watched a horror film that really would have disturbed most of the fucking world. And I was like, I actually didn't like this movie. I don't like the torture of women. And she was like, really? And I was like, I absolutely fucking loved the ending and had my mind blown, and I thought it was amazing. But no, most of the movie was the horrible, basically rape and torture of a poor Chinese woman. It was not something that I should like. And she was like, yeah, I didn't like that part either. But I mean, that's not what the movie was about. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't, was it? No. And this was his whole point when he directed it. It was like, we get into these fucking things because we watch the same horror movies over and over and over and over and over again. If it's not Halloween, we don't like it. If it's not Texas Chainsaw, we don't like it. If it's not Wes Craven, we don't like it, and that's fucked up. And so the best horror movie I ever saw was French, and that's why I say go watch a French horror film before you write off horror for being dead. Go play a game you've never played before you write video games off for being fucking dead. You know what I'm saying? I had written Co-op off as being basically dead. Then I did BG3 this year, and it was great. Whatever. I thought, like a lot of things I thought were dead, but they're never dead. They're just changing all the time. So if you're stuck watching the same movies over and over and over again, if you've been in the same four walls for longer than like 20, 30 years, you should probably change. You should probably sell your house. You should probably move. You should probably change your life or do something. A lot of people think risk is just not worth it. Risky right now in this terrible financial climate is so bad. No. Staying in the same fucking rusted wheel rut, like the wonderful who's the guy from lead singer from Silver Sun, right? Brian something or another, Brian Albert, right? So Brian Albert taught us well, right? The rusted wheel, this song changed my life, Rusted Wheel, and the lyrics are really great. And they're like, so you can't hold the star in your hand, though. At least you can hold on to another plan. The rusted wheel is planted still. I can tell it's summer from the size of the bugs that fly through my window and flying through the window. And the rusted wheel is still planted still. And, and I can tell it's winter from the size of the lump in my throat. I got a lump in my throat, but the rusted wheel is still planted still. Right now in my own life, my wheel is not rusted. I am not stuck. I'm doing everything. I'm doing New World with the UI off. I'm playing 3 games at once. I'm listening to the game music for the first time in my life if it wasn't Square. I was like, I'm giving these writers a chance. I'm giving YouTube a chance. I'm giving my friendships and my relationships a chance by saying goodbye. I would say the only way I was going to save these things was saying goodbye. I'm a work in progress until I come back rich and in a better shape and sober and not like, a fucking wreck of a human being. I don't deserve to be your friends. And so I said goodbye. I mean, it's like crazy. It's like everything's new. Everything I do is new. And I'm the happiest I've ever been, and it's been the best, most positive change in my life. If you want happiness, I would say it's not in the nostalgia of a well-made game or a fucking another round of chess or another round of whatever. It's change is as good as the rest. It's like literally almost the meaning of life, I think. Change and bliss, seek bliss, whatever that means to you. Seek bliss and change. It's my adapted like meaning of life now. Seek bliss and seek change in everything that you do, because if you become mired up in the quagmire that is a lack of variety or just doldrum fucking mundanity, you have condemned yourself to an unhappy life. I mean, one doorway through another doorway, It reminds me of a song I really like called Why I Smoke Mad Weed. He's like, whose life's a disaster? Which side are we on? and one doorway to another doorway, they scoot soft skulls along. You can deny yourself living, but then you do yourself wrong. Deny yourself nothing that won't last for long, right? And it's like weird because it's like they're like, if you deny yourself nothing that won't last for long, right? It's kind of weird. It's like if it's sometimes you die before you get it right. Who's a steady hand? Who's the perfect plan? Who's the CEO? Do you really think Plath would know? No, I don't think so. You can't keep out the rain. It was ergo in the grain. You know, it was anything. It's a chemical scheme. You do the math. I'll burn this bean and pretend you're not funny, 'cause it's cool to stay calm. I got the sounds of swords bumping. I'm moving along, you know? And it's like, I got the sound of swords bumping all the time. It's always changing, always moving, always doing something different. If you're stuck on Counter-Strike 2, or if you're stuck on Rust and you're so unhappy that you're attacking other players, it is because of your own life and the choices that you have made. You want to blame other people. You have a lack of variety. Change to me is the best. Now, change worked for me. That is not to say that change will work for you. This is just my fucking theory. It is not it's not the secret. It's not proven. It's not, you know.
Exclusively decides to
It's just my theory about the universe, right? Here's my theory about the universe. Change is as good as the rest. If you are unhappy, you best get to some changes right the fuck away.
good memories, but
If you and seek bliss, whatever that means to you, even if it's something really nasty or fucked up, it doesn't matter. You should probably give in to whoever you are and just be yourself and go seek change in everything that you do.
also be
Everything you do.
interpreted as the most
I'm constantly looking for the next movie, the next book, the next game, the next person, the next fucking philosophy, the next fucking video, the next fucking thing to change me all the fucking time. At this point, I struggle with writing lyrics. They have to be poetry that I wrote like 7 years ago when I was spun, because I don't want my shit making sense, because that would mean that it would immediately begin to be formulaic, which is how Kurt Cobain wrote. And all of my fucking favorite singers, like the Cedric Dixler from At the Drive-In, and Mars Volta is like that. Tom York from Radiohead is like that. Kurt Cobain was like that. Jerry Cantrell was like that. Sorry, not Jerry Cantrell, but Lane Staley was like that. They're too high. The Meat Puppets guy, I forget his name. They're all like that. And it's because like the change is as good as the rest. They're used to switching up 25 different genres, 25 different styles, 25 different like ways of doing music, 25 different ways of writing songs, 25 different ways of writing lyrics, 25 different ways of living your life, 25 different ways of being up and down and in and around and rich and poor and high and sober and all these different ways. And that is why that as an entertainer, you must always change, always change. Always be looking for something new, something to entertain the people. You might look like you're playing the same fucking games over and over and over again, but if your style is fresh, it won't matter. It won't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what I do or how I execute it.
bittersweet of human emotions. The downside of choosing to view the past in a positive light is that the present will naturally feel lesser. You are nostalgic. Let's not.
Yeah, and he said it well. The downside of viewing the past in a positive light is the future never seems that good, right? That's another reason not to live in the fucking past all the fucking time. Like, just because you've abused someone for so long doesn't mean that you should continue to do this. You should stop, you know? Just because you wake up every morning and you smoke a cigarette doesn't mean that you should do that. You should stop, you know? It sucks. I mean, I struggle with it myself, and some days I did stop. For like 7 months I stopped, you know? Longest I ever did was 7 months. I'm probably lifelong afflicted. I'm afflicted, you're addicted, you and me, you and me.
it twisted. Just accept it. But I don't want to leave you all empty-handed here, so I think taking all of these reasons, I can form a bigger picture and maybe put together a way to enjoy games a little bit more. But first, let's answer the question. Why doesn't gaming feel the same anymore? The world around you has changed, and it's become miles harder to enjoy things the same way that you could. And as a result, you may have started to play games for the wrong reasons, exclusively playing them with competitive goals or for an end game, without the resources to successfully do so. On top of that, the medium itself has shifted from what you feel nostalgic for, and most importantly, you have changed as a person. That, people, is why gaming doesn't feel the same, because gaming isn't the same and you aren't the same. Now let's talk about some ways to start enjoying games a little bit more. My first suggestion is reevaluate what you're planning to do with your time. If you only have time to play games on the weekends or after a long day of work, maybe consider taking competitive games less seriously or moving to a more casually oriented game. Secondly, games that require you to sink a bunch of time regularly, like maybe Rust, might not be such a good idea as much as you might like those games. Thirdly, maybe consider picking up some games that don't require you to be so well practiced to do well. A lot of strategy games or even chess have a lot of residual skill that stays with you for a good portion of your life, regardless of whether or not you had to take a break. The next things are hard to do, but I suggest you do your best to improve your surroundings before you decide to play a game. Gaming is an escape from reality for some people, but if there's something you need to do, gaming's only going to make you feel guilty. Take care of everything you need to do, then put yourself in the right mindset to play. Then I pick a game that sounds fun. If you don't enjoy new games these days, don't be afraid to be a nostalgic fan and just play through all of your childhood shit. Recently, the old school COD games got their servers back, and playing some of these games is always good fun. Or go even further back and play some of the single player shit you grew up with. And finally, there's no point in changing yourself for a hobby, but just accept that you're not the same person, and maybe it's time to shift your gaming taste or maybe find a different hobby. Or more importantly, maybe just take a break from
The
gaming and
games,
come back to it. I hope this video to some extent has been enlightening, or at the very least maybe
some of the games played like this back in the day. Like WoW played like kind of like this, and EvE definitely played like this. And so some of these games really feel like a blast from the past, but they've evolved so much that they're not the same game. EVE Online is not the same game that it was 15 years ago. Not even close. Not even the same. Like EVE Echoes is more close to EVE Online 15 years ago now. It's kind of sad. And but no, I like modern EVE Online a lot better though. And yep. And so yeah, and it's to me it's like, if you aren't playing a new game, or I'm sorry, it doesn't have to be a new game. If you aren't playing your favorite game in a new way every single day, you are not really like evolving. Like I know that I'm doing the same thing in EVE Online over and over again, but it's a new way for me to play, where I'm constantly farming EVE Online in the background. That's not something I did my whole life, so that is a new thing for me, and I'm loving it. Fucking loving it. It plays like a tycoon game that's always there to wrap its warm, like, you know, market fucking spreadsheet ass like loving arms around you. And yeah, and so, and I never played it like that before. Yeah. Now I am, and I'm loving it. I always thought of it as a space sim, but it's more of a tycoon simulator. It's interesting.
maybe a bit thought-provoking. As I said earlier, if it's not too much to ask, just comment your age and when you think gaming started to change, if you feel that way. Like I said, after a week I'll try to compile most of the common reasons and ages and pin a comment that's sort of a compendium of all of it. But with everything said, I appreciate you all for watching this far, and as per usual, any and all support would help me out, but no one can force you to do so, and I will see you all in the next one.
Don't say no one can force you to do so. It's disingenuous, and it's the sort of stuff that probably costs you hits. Don't put words in our mouths. Don't make assumptions about what our vibes are. I liked your video, but then you ended it badly and left it kind of sour for me. And when you said at the end, what did you say at the end? You said, I can't force you.
No one can force you to do so, and I will see you.
No one can force you to do so. You don't need to make weird, self-aggrandizing, like, literally you like played yourself, sucker. Be more confident. This guy's chopping my banana trees, damn it. Aww. Now, how did this work? I went the wrong way is what it is. I went the wrong way out of the teleport thing. I'm supposed to go down that road. Banana trees, a fuck ton of them. Yeah, let's get a nice proficiency booster going and a nice lumber salted cabbage going. Now we're gonna chop banana trees till I go blind. Bananas, the shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S, the shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S, shit is bananas. Fuck, I love Gwen Stefani. I don't care. Gwen Stefani married one of my favorite singers, and for that I will always love her. That and all her really good music too. Now, why consoles are going extinct, huh? Alright, why are consoles going to extinct?
Since the creation of video games,
going indie, liking, subbing to your channel?
no piece of hardware has been more important than the console. It brought video games to our homes in the 80s.
Will you be the one to experience the Nintendo Entertainment
You be the one to
System?
experience the Nintendo
Popularized them in the
Entertainment.
90s
16-bit Super Nintendo.
and transformed home entertainment in the 2000s. For decades, consoles
$2.99 for the PS3. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, yeah, like 5 years after its release, yeah. Day of, it was like $5.99, I think. Yeah, PS3 was $5.99, I think.
With many consoles being combined to create supercomputers for governments, or banned from certain countries because of the console's advanced technology.
And the PlayStation 2 became the repeated target of war-related media coverage.
Every console generation seemed to propel us forward, bringing something new, powerful, or innovative. But in the past 10 years, consoles have fallen behind, with many people jumping ship to PCs and phones. What was once a console-dominated industry
PCs
has now
and
become a place
phones.
where consoles sit in third place, slowly losing market share year after year, with many investors telling new game
Fucking
makers to
cell
avoid
phones.
consoles.
We sit in these seats as venture capitalists, and I think if a founder came to us and said they were going to try and start a game and ship it on console, we would be like, what? Why?
Back in the old days, it wasn't PC versus phone, it was console versus console. And these console wars brought us the greatest gaming hardware generation after generation. But the constant battle for dominance has driven the very thing we've been fighting over to its grave. And Microsoft is behind it.
Game console war.
The console wars.
That console wars.
Real quick, before I dive in, we need to talk about today's sponsor, NordVPN. Sponsors are important for the channel because half of all of our sponsor revenue goes to help fund indie developers. And unlike so many sponsors that have reached out, I actually reached out to Nord myself. As someone who travels for work, I sit in multiple airports every month. And usually my internet service in there is garbage. So instead, I spend hours doing work on the very sketchy public airport internet. Thanks to Nord, I'm able to use that airport Wi-Fi safely because I don't have to worry about my data or passwords being compromised. I just flip a switch and I'm good to go. So with the Going Indie discount, you can get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan by checking out the link below. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get access to all these great services. So as someone that has used multiple VPNs over the years, I highly suggest NordVPN, and I want to thank them for sponsoring us and helping us fund indie developers. Long before I was around, the first console war began. A war waged by Atari and Intellivision. Although the Atari was the first and is the most well-known, the Intellivision had better graphics and sounds.
And found Intellivision played much more like real baseball.
Looks more like he should be comparing whiskeys, not game consoles, but this was the beginning of the console wars, and the smear commercials by Mattel were actually working. In the 80s, the Intellivision had a real chance of competing with Atari, and as a result of the competition, the console market was on the rise. Sadly though, as home gaming was just getting a foothold, a crisis struck. The video game market crashed in 1983. The gaming market was saturated with low-quality games, and people were more interested in purchasing personal computers. Why buy a $1,000 console to play this? You could play something just as bad on a PC. Personal computers were more of a versatile option, with the ability to play games and work. A problem we will see pop up years later. But with the fall of the console, video game revenues went from $3.2 billion
I love
in
Fire
1983
Glory.
to $100 million in 1985, a 97% drop. So the first console war was won by Atari, but in reality, it was more like mutually assured destruction. Video games were looking more like a fad, filling up landfills and lost to obscurity like the original console makers. But then a console rose from the ashes. From a playing card company we all know today, Nintendo. Nintendo really was the savior of gaming. Because when they released the NES in 1985, it completely shifted people's perception of video games. So many games produced at this time were expensive garbage, and Nintendo didn't want another ET fiasco. Every Nintendo title had to be quality. And when the NES released, it blew people away. The gameplay, the stories, the characters, practically every prominent Nintendo IP came from this generation and was actually affordable. The NES was gold. Every kid was pleading to get this thing for Christmas. Nintendo had a complete monopoly of home gaming, and with only a $300 price tag, people...
Warp drive active.
$500 gold from what? Salt. I sold salt. Yes. Salt is a good turnaround.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
were happy to buy.
Shut up and take my money.
Other
Shut up and
companies
take
saw
my
the
money.
success and wanted it. One
Nice,
company
4
in
stars.
particular stepped into the ring against the console king, and they did it in style.
What Nintendo?
So with the
Sure,
release of Sega
Nintendo.
Genesis in 1989 and the media campaigns on full blast, the second console war began. These two Japanese companies fought for dominance, each fighting over specs, gameplay, and IP, with Sega creating Sonic to rival the mustache plumber. Commercials, advertisements, bits, these companies fought incessantly, and it seemed like the console industry would be dominated by Sega and Nintendo forever, until a third Japanese company entered the arena.
Sony.
When Sony joined the brawl, the company jumped to first place immediately. The PlayStation was incredible. It was more powerful than anything out there, and it used CD-ROMs and not cartridges for its games. On top of great hardware, they
So
had
good.
a top-notch cast of characters, ranging from Cloud to Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, having a CD
Sony
player
was
back then
geared
was
to
a
win the
really
next
big
console,
deal.
and its Mexican standoff caused Sega to fall behind, leaving the console industry to never return.
Number 2.
For most of the 80s and 90s, the Japanese dominated the console industry. From Nintendo to Sega to Sony, no one else dared to compete or they died trying. But then Microsoft and Bill Gates did the unthinkable. They not only entered the console market, but they entered it with this.
What the hell is that?
Although the original Xbox looked like a green monstrosity when compared to the PS2, the green box was powerful. Way more powerful than the PS2 or GameCube. It was new and it didn't have that many games, so it sold only 24 million copies, which sounds pretty good until you compare it with the PlayStation 2. But the Xbox did good enough for Microsoft to greenlight the next one. And thank goodness they did, because the next console generation would be the biggest fight in console history.
This is your new Xbox 360.
We've got one. Now on to PlayStation 3.
I owned every one of these consoles, and each one had something I couldn't resist. The technology in the
good.
PS3 was amazing. Blu-ray DVDs players at the time were close to $1,000, and you got one built in the PS3 for only
400.
$600. The Xbox 360 had the best game lineup and community. That original interface was just oozing fun and friends. And then there was the Wii. This little white box had Wii Sports, Brawl, and Super Mario Galaxy. Those games were awesome. I don't remember playing much else since most Wii games were kind of gimmicky, but it was still tons of fun and the commercials were great.
We would like to play
Zelda.
This generation was fiery hot. Every console had something unique about it and the sales were neck and neck. This generation ended up being incredibly important because this was the last real battle of the console war where consoles duked it out. Each
No, that's not true.
Value.
That's not true. The Switch and the PS4 and the fucking Xbox One was a better generation, better games, better stuff, better consoles, and I still consider the PlayStation 4 Pro to be the greatest fucking console of all fucking time. And I grew up on Super Nintendos. I still think PlayStation 4 Pro is so much better, exponentially better than the Super Nintendo, that I just won't say that the Super Nintendo is better. It didn't have better games, not per capita. It didn't. There was a lot better games on fucking PlayStation 4 Pro, which is a good console. It gets 4K. It'll get 60 to 120 frames sometimes depending on the game. You can unlock it. You can do all kinds of crazy things with it. You can get it to play like 40,000 different games or something like that. It's like a lot. You can do a lot with it. Not like Super Nintendo, not like a lot of them. And that generation was a much better console war. Right when Fortnite hit and PlayStation 4 was there, RDR2 and Grand Theft Auto 5 and Horizon Zero Dawn. Xbox was Xbox. I can't think of anything that Xbox did, but I know there's a lot there. Overwatch and I said Fortnite, but I'll say again Fortnite. You know, it's like there was a lot of really good stuff. The PUBG was around and like DayZ. On the PC, you know, there was like, you know, some stuff, but it was like mainly the PS4 console race to me was the important one. And it was good. It was when we finally got MMOs to the console and all that stuff. Well, you know, you couldn't run an MMO on a console, not really. The 360 struggled to do it. I did it on the 360 for like 5 years, and I played Final Fantasy 11 on the Xbox 360 for like 5 years because it's all I could afford. And, you know, and it was hard. It was hard. Constant disconnects and constant fucking, you know, frame rate drops and in Abyssia, it was just shitty if you were in an alliance. It was just, and I was raiding alliance. I was raiding alliance with my last LS Kupo. Or not last LS, but the last retail LS Kupo with my friend Akani and my friend Thayet and oh god, what the fuck's truck and all them, and yeah, and so yeah, and that's you know, and that, yeah, that was the real console race, was like 360 to PS4 era. There was this point where we all had PlayStation 4s, but the Xbox 360 Elite was still a valid console because it had like 350 really fucking good games, including stuff like Grand Theft Auto 5 and Diablo 4, you know? So, whatever.
At their peak. But the next console generation would be quite different.
Yeah, 4 was much
after
better.
The 7th gen consoles were released, it was finally time to see what was coming next. And Sony announced the PS4.
PlayStation.
The PS4 looked like a great console with all sorts of games.
It was the best looking console by
mention,
far.
You could use it as
best
a media
design.
player. People were excited.
You couldn't.
We were also excited though to see the new Xbox.
It was like a solid brick. The case was really protective of the CD drive. The CD drive was not a tray. It was just like a. I mean, it was a tray, but it wasn't like one that acted like a crappy tray that would break. It was like a good tray. Like that thing was solid. It was like solid like a brick. It upgraded a bunch all the way to like 120 frames per second. I think by the end of it, the last generation of the PS4 Pro was like fucking could do 120 frames per second pretty solid if you unlocked it, like, you know, which was pretty good on most of those PS4 era games. Like you can play most PlayStation 4 era games in 4K now in 60 frames per second, which, you know, is fine. It's fine on a console. 60 frames is great, feels great, you know, no problem. And so, and 4K ESO was revolutionary. 4K was, 4K was the real revolution in my opinion.
He had been amazing. Aside from the
We're past it now, and I'm still
can
sitting on
imagine what the Xbox
1080p
announcement had in
because
store.
that's what's good for streaming.
Skype.
Otherwise, I would be 1440p.
The announcement was bad.
Yeah.
People weren't sure if this was a console or some
Yeah,
kind
it's
of device
tragic.
to watch movies and Skype your friends.
I'm looking forward to you showing off the great work we're doing with our partners at ESPN.
I feel like Microsoft talked about everything but normal games. They were so focused on being the future of family and technology, they forgot why people buy consoles.
Yeah, like
in the
normal
first place.
games, yeah.
Games.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Even when they did talk about video games, it was controversial because it was uncertain if you could play your titles offline or even share them with your friends. Sony, of course, saw all of this chaos and had a little fun with the controversy.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Yep.
Thanks.
Sadly, the Xbox
Thanks.
One flopped on release. It wasn't the only one. A few months earlier, Nintendo released this horrendous thing. A console that allowed you to play games on a tablet, but you couldn't really travel with it. So it was like this console wannabe handheld thing. I didn't get it.
I don't get it.
And neither did most people. It failed hard. This was the first time Nintendo
Yep.
wasn't profitable.
And and the Wii U sucked, and Xbox like fucking died, and I left for the PlayStation 4. I was a 360 boy. I've got, I don't know how many achievement points. Fuck, I don't know. I could pull my Xbox thing right now, I think, without much problem. Let's go see. How much achievement points do I have? Fuck, I haven't done this in a while. Hey, did they change the App Store? I haven't been to this in a while. Maybe I should pay for a monthly. Like, let's see what Xbox has. Maybe I should play some games. I wouldn't mind. Hurry up, you. You're being slow. You're really slow. You're really slow. Really slow. Hurry up, you. You sucking. Hurry up, you. Suck. Let's go. Let's hurry up. Hurry up, you. Hurry up, you. Stupid Microsoft. Yeah, that's me. So, what's my achievement score? I want to see my achievement score. I want to see achievements. View profile. It's 27,175 is my achievement score on 360, right? Which isn't much. But, like, it proves that I was an Xbox boy for like 5 years and stuff. You can see some of these are recent, but way back in the day, I used to play like 360 primarily. And, yeah, here we go. In this whole era. 305, 14 out of 35. That was a game I played a lot. See, I'm not an achievement person. See it? I played a lot of games. A lot of them. But I have a really good achievement on that one that most of the public doesn't have. 25 kills on the back of a motorcycle, or whatever their fucking thing was called. Yep. 2 achievements. That's weird because I played this game a lot actually. Madden. That's weird. I played that game a lot. I think it didn't get a lot of my achievements, but yeah. Dark Alliance. Wow. Yeah, I remember that game. Long Dark. Katamari Dharma C reroll. Final Fantasy 13. I played that a lot, but they're talking about PC. I want 360. SSX Tricky. Yeah. There's a lot of really good 360 games. Tales of Vesperia, Fable 3. Like, I didn't play a lot of single player games. I was the guy on the PC playing a lot of computer games, but you can see I played a lot of Bad Company 2, a lot of Lightning Returns, a lot of Final Fantasy 13. Played a lot of games. Red Faction Guerrilla, played that a lot. Rock Band 2, played that a lot online. All my achievements are online because I didn't play a lot of the single player. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, played that quite a bit. Gears of War, Halo, Lego, Unreal, Forza, Lost Planet, Match of the Gathering, Warface. I owned a lot of games, you see it? But I didn't play a lot of them. Enslaved was a good game. We got Horizon Zero Dawn out of that company. No, I'm sorry, that was Namco. That was a good game, yeah. Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon, and all this. My best friend had a lot of games. M+, I played a lot. I capped out M+, so it's not showing a lot of my achievements anymore, which is frankly unfortunate. That's okay. I remember playing that game. Yeah, that's a good game. The 1989 arcade. Dragon Age, and I did RE6 with a friend of mine. A lot of Borderlands 1. See it? Yeah, a lot of Left 4 Dead 2. A lot of it, like, Risen. Played a lot of Risen 1. Played a lot of Red Faction Armageddon. Played a lot of Assassin's Creed 2. Played a lot of Bioshock 2. Played a lot of GTA 4. A lot of Crackdown. A lot of Quake 4. I liked Quake 4 a lot. That was a good game. Played some Lost Planet. Sniper Ghost Warrior. I liked that game. That was a good game. Mini Ninjas. I love that game. That was a great game. Played a lot of Castle Crashers. FC Instincts Predator is one of the greater games I think I liked on that console series. Alan Wake. I played a lot of Alan Wake. A lot of Far Cry 2. See, if I get halfway through the achievements, you know that I played the game for probably 300, 400 hours or something like that, because I don't play games normally. I do whatever's fun. I don't follow guides. I don't care about beating the game at all. I just want to have fun. So I come looking for my fun and I see what I can get, you know? Oh, Mass Effect 2 was so bad. Look, I played more Fuel than I did Mass Effect 2. Because Fuel was a better game than Mass Effect 2. I played a lot of Halo 3. Played a lot of Lost Odyssey. Played a lot of Wolfenstein. A lot of Silent Hill Homecoming. That was a good game. Played a lot of Mirror's Edge. Like, I beat that game like 5 times or something like that. I don't know why it's not saying I did. A lot of my achievements are not here. It's kind of crazy. Two Worlds is weird because I played a lot of this game and it's saying that I didn't play it at all. And I have witnesses and probably footage of me playing a lot of this game with my best friend. And I don't know why I'm at 0. I'm not at 0 on Geometry Wars. I have beaten the hell out of M+ in every achievement, and M+ is emptied out. So yeah, a lot of my achievements have been lost too, I think, somehow. I think you were supposed to transfer to the new gen, but I just never did. I didn't buy an Xbox One ever. I did not buy an Xbox One. Only PlayStation 4s. Yeah, I had access to and bought a lot and rented a lot of games. Played a lot of Redbox. Did a lot of Redbox games in that era. Played a lot of Redbox, which is one of the reasons why, like, a lot of these aren't finished. But yep. And so yeah, oh, Steam authentication error, which is odd. That shouldn't happen. Where am I now? Oh yeah. So you should be going to the anomaly.
Warp drive active.
Why did you die, New World? That's fucked up. Well, anyways, come to Game Pass and let's see what's new. Resident Evil 2, Those Who Remain. We Happy Few came back, but I thought it was always there. I don't know. I like We Happy Few, and I wouldn't mind beating it. It's a great game. Hell Let Loose hit Xbox, and I've always wanted to try that game. I've never played that game. Team 17 is a good game, or a good company, I mean. Hell Let Loose, huh? Tempting. Pillars of Eternity 1, definitive. 10 Hearts. Far Cry 6. I wouldn't mind playing Far Cry 6, actually. Beating Far Cry 6. I bet that'd be a fun romp. Against the Storm. Goats. I've been trying to play Far Cry 6 for a long time. Clone Drone in the Danger Zone. Steam World Build. Remnant 2 hit fucking Xbox, which really irks me because I just bought this. Roller Drome is a game I heard was really fucking good, actually. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be my type of game. Or it is my type of game, but it's too retro for me. Killer Instinct might be fun to pop into for a bit. What else you got right now that's trending? Yeah, what's trending? Yeah, Resident Evil 2. I would not mind beating Resident Evil 2 on stream. That would be fun. I didn't do a Halloween game this year. Could do a really late Halloween game. Resident Evil 2. It's been a long fucking time. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm in the mood for survival horror. Not in that style, anyways. Trending now. Yep, and then Game Pass for Developer Direct. Turn in to hear from developers on January 18th. Doom Eternal Year 1 Pass. Skyrim Beyond Countdown. Save up to 85% on add-ons. No, I don't care about that. Hit games in 2023. Oh, Liza P is... Wait, is Liza P on Game Pass? No, Liza P is not on Game Pass. Why did you put it there? Oh wait, is it? Yeah, is oh, Liza P is on Game Pass. Damn. I should try this game. I thought that who is that? Yeah. Lies of P, huh? Trouble connecting to the internet. You must restart the client, I guess. I don't know. Something with it. Restart the client, damn it. New world, new world. You know, I wouldn't mind trying Mortal with this this window mode and see how it plays. I'm playing a lot of New World. Liza P would be good. I mean, I wouldn't mind a new game, but I don't really want to get stuck in another Souls-like. I don't want to get stuck in a single-player game. Ooh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What's that? Asymmetrical. Oh, it's one of those Friday the 13th games. I love these. These are so fun. They play like Rust, kind of. Yeah, those are great. Yeah, I love those. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Friday the 13th was one of my favorite games, actually, on the PS4. Really great game. Truly great. Fucking gets you going. God, Exoprimal was so good to being good. So close to being good. What happened to Capcom? I wonder if Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to suck, because Exoprimal was not as good as it should have been. It was so close, but then it sucked. It sucked in the end. Why did Exoprimal suck so bad? I want to see if anybody's talked about it. Let's go see what people have to say. Oh, no, I want to hear what the rest of these guys have to say. Could do Rise, but or even probably, like, I think Monster Hunter World is on Xbox Game Pass right now, but I haven't done Darktide yet, but I don't want to do Darktide. I don't, like, this seems too boomer to me. Warhammer was not a world that I spent much time in. Wild Hearts is supposed to be extremely good, but I don't like BAM games. Like, I don't know. It's EA. I don't like EA. Man, can't believe you made Remnant 2 on Xbox. That's crazy to me. Oh well, it's fun to take a look at it, you know. Get this guy going again. What happened to my
company was struggling. Everything but the PlayStation was crashing and burning. Xbox lost its identity as a gaming console, and Nintendo made a console that was trying to be a handheld. By just making a normal console, Sony immediately won the battle. But the divide just got even bigger, thanks to exclusives. The amount of exclusive games PlayStation had was leaps and bounds better. Want to play Halo 4? Buy an Xbox One or just play it on the Xbox 360. Whatever, who cares? Want to play any of these games? Yeah, buy a PlayStation 4. So Sony won the battle. But unlike any other console fight, this one would have long-lasting consequences. Such an impact that the Wii U would be Nintendo's last console.
Huh?
What about the Switch?
Some people are really stupid.
The Switch isn't a console. May sound crazy, but hear me out. Let's look at the creation of the Wii U, and I think it will explain why the Switch isn't what we normally define as a home console. Since the N64, Nintendo had been in second place to the PlayStation, losing over and over. So Nintendo branched out with the Wii, no longer competing on specs, but instead taking a blue ocean approach with a focus on unique gaming experiences. It worked. But like I said before, the Wii was kind of gimmicky, and Nintendo knew they couldn't do the same gimmick twice. So when the new console was in ideation, leadership noticed something. Nintendo had been losing the console war to PlayStation for years. They had been winning the handheld war. No one even came close to Nintendo's dominance in the handheld market. It sparked an idea. People love Nintendo handheld so much, why not package one in with the console? Someone at Nintendo had a great idea with the Wii U, but had bad execution. Instead of making a console with handheld capabilities, they needed to make a handheld with console capabilities. Sound like something? The Switch is first and foremost a handheld. It is a hybrid device for on the go that can also be plugged into a TV. And it's brilliant. Nintendo had been playing in two markets for 30 years, dividing the resources between the console and their handhelds. But with the Switch, they could focus on making great games for one platform, mobile hardware for any situation. So Nintendo exited the console war in 2017, and I don't see them ever making a return.
How did
Which leaves us
Nintendo
with
exit the fucking console war? The Switch they just released Zelda 2. What the fuck are you talking about? Switch is going fine. It's doing fine. What are you talking about? Nintendo did not leave the console wars. They did not leave the console wars. Utter claptrap. Nintendo did not leave the console wars in 2017. Utter claptrap. You kind of lost me here, buddy. You're literally miseducating people. Nintendo did not leave. I hate Nintendo. Look, I hate Nintendo. Or no, I don't hate Nintendo, but it's like, look, I hate the Switch. But Switch never bought one. But it is straight up misinformation to say that Nintendo left the console race in 2017. Nintendo just released the second Breath of the Wild. It threw me for a loop what you said. In 2023. Yeah, I called them on it, and I was like, it's straight misinformation to say Nintendo left this race.
The duopoly.
They did not. They did not leave that race.
PlayStation and Xbox.
Everybody bought a Switch. Everybody did.
Best games,
Animal Crossing, Switch, Breath of the Wild. Like, trust me, the Switch did not fucking leave the race in 2017 in any way or form. Everybody I knew owned a Switch. Everybody. That is just completely redonkulously not true. That is not true. I don't like misinformation. It's almost enough to get off your video, and I think I might. That was misinformation. Let's hear him say it again. I don't think so. He's like, Nintendo leaves the race. Yeah, no, Nintendo did not leave the race.
Sound like something? The Switch is first and foremost a handheld. It is a hybrid device for on the go that can also be plugged into a TV. And it's brilliant. Nintendo had been playing in two markets for 30 years, dividing the resources between the console and their handhelds. But with the Switch, they could focus on making great games for one platform, mobile hardware for any situation. So Nintendo exited the console war in 2017.
Nintendo did not exit the console war. What are you talking about? Nintendo did not exit the console war. What are you talking about? They're still strong. They just released like fucking Tears of the Kingdom. What are you talking about? You lost me. It's your writing. You're writing. You didn't read it or something. You just completely stated something untrue like it was true. No. Player autocracy, paradox strategy, and player autocracy. Okay. Let's listen to this one. Thank you, Rosenkreutz, for this excellent video for my stream called Paradox Strategy and Player Autocracy.
In games by Paradox, and indeed in the
Paradox
wider
for the
genre of
motherfucking
historical
win.
strategy, including things from Civ to Total War, whereby the player has a sort of absolute power. I've talked about this briefly with respect to Victoria 2 in the past, and I've addressed an overlapping concern when looking at how Civ 6 handles declines, but now I want to take a comprehensive swing at articulating what I previously called player autocracy. To do so, we're going to intermittently discuss a few games, mostly in the Paradox catalog, but all with, I think, approachable examples. One could, likely, broaden out the application of the term player autocracy to a whole heap of genres, and in fact, I'm completely sure it applies to anything involving management or what would, in the real world, require immense delegation. The nature of player autocracy is found in, as we'll see, recognizing when things shouldn't be so easy. For example, there's probably a whole conversation to be had about how smooth and seamless building a new city in Cities Skylines is, how little resistance there is to any given choice. But with that all said, let's actually define the term. Player autocracy is the measure or condition of absolute control the player has over the actions taken in a game. It is, at its simplest, the fact that the player, and thus the act of play, involve unchallenged power. It is less one solid moment or thing than it is a gradient of control that the player has over mechanics and information of a game. As such, it is easiest to pick apart when we have something grounded, like our real-world history, to contrast. Without contrast, it hardly differs from the expectation of a frictionless experience. In real life, even the most empowered king wouldn't have as perfect control over the economy or troop movements as in a Paradox game, if you follow. I will note here that this is not, or at least is more than, just an argument for more complex systems and games. In fact, it's hardly an argument for anything, so much as an exploration of a way games are made and what players expect from them and where we might look to understand them better. Player autocracy is, largely, a gameplay necessity, or it can be. That's one of the points I'd like to dissect a bit more, and one of the best ways to do that is to establish a shared understanding of these games and then work our way into discussing the ways they can be played. In order to do that, we'll first start with foundation building, with defining terms that feel like they might need no definition, and then we'll get into a case study of sorts. From there, it's on to talking about the sides of gameplay, of how player autocracy manifests, and in turn, how it affects player agency. Let's start with the basics, some fundamental gameplay elements to get us in the swing of looking at games through the lens of player control and its inverse, player disempowerment. As is often the case when talking about history games, we have to start with some kind of common understanding of who the player is. Yes, the player is France in some kind of way, and if someone asked, who did you pick to play? France would be an acceptable answer in any Paradox game chronologically past Crusader Kings or in a given Civ title, and so on. But the distinction of what being France means is important. Are we the leader of France? Are we the collective French people? The spirit of the nation? It changes a little from game to game, but no answer feels entirely correct. We, the player, are directing the history and actions of a nation, and it's often in ways that transcend the limits, actions, and consequences of government. In Civilization, this means we both are and are not Napoleon, which himself is and isn't Napoleon. Oh man, this is gonna get in the weeds. What I mean is that Napoleon was a human man who lived through the turn of the 18th century into the 19th and had a lasting impact on the direction of French history. He is a symbol of the nation, though not its sole representative on this earth. In Civ, he's the sole immortal representative, a humanization or embodiment of France, a spirit of the nation, so to speak. And we are, or are not, him. The game addresses us as such, but also with distance. Do you see why this is tedious and tricky? Paradox games vary a little, here and there, with the player role, but overall they end up in that vague spot of being less limited than a real-world president or king, while also not being, in most cases, all that tied down, neither to armies, nor government, nor form. More than anything, the player is directing history itself, but from a limited perspective. The player is conducting the history of Colombia as it transforms into Grand Colombia and later becomes the fictional but hypothetical Federation of the Andes. Those are different nations of different peoples with new governments and cabinets that span the lifetime of entire generations. We are not so limited as governments, not so fleeting as human lives, and not so trapped as to simply be the spirit of the nation. We are everything implied by a switch country button. Along the way, other nations, the computer players, are part of the story just as much as they are targets and antagonists and collaborators in creating a narrative of history. And it's important to establish all that so we can move forward with understanding our role, its power, and its limitations. But before that, we have to talk about the other player. Mirroring the last section, I'd like to start this section with a seemingly obvious question. Who is the AI? By which I mean, who is the computer player relative to the player? There are a few answers, but chief among them for us is that the computer players are opponents, obstacles, and collaborators in gameplay, and in the construction of both a gameplay narrative as well as a historical narrative. In order for the obstruction to the player to feel like meaningful gameplay and not just tedium, it has to be good. But that idea of good AI might need some defining in order to be useful to us. Say Sardinia Piedmont, due to bad AI, doesn't take full advantage of its amazing potential to industrialize as the sole North Italian nation with a source of coal. But also, thanks to that bad AI, the other Italian states have an actual chance at being the ones to form Italy, both in the AI hands and in the player hands. The bad AI allows for variety. And before you grab a pitchfork and say I'm defending lazy devs or pretending something bad is good, actually, I'd ask that you hear out this full section first. It is a tangent to discuss, but fundamentally this game is built on a materialist understanding of history, which is to say that things like resource access are pretty central. While not strictly scientific in an input-output way, this lends itself to logical conclusions, like the regions with heavy industry being the ones with coal and iron, if you follow. So, in theory, Sardinia Piedmont should be intrinsically geared to be the dominant industrialized Italian state, yes? Perfect AI would produce that outcome, given the input of its material conditions. Perfect AI wouldn't allow for deviation from history, and the game would look
Indeed.
less like a game and more like a clockwork diorama. For some people that may already feel true for different reasons. We've been over this before in an older video, but it bears repeat in the context of AI precisely because the player is afforded their agency in the negative space of AI agency. It is the failure of Sardinia Piedmont that allows for the rise of a papacy-led unified Italy. Player action is only half the story. AI weakness or inaction is the other. But that leads us to yet another question regarding good AI and proper AI behavior. What should it ideally look like? And in turn, how context-sensitive is that question? Take, for example, Russia. Should a good Russia AI hold on to reactionary power structures for as long as possible, even potentially eclipsing historical Tsarist Russia in terms of repression, or should it rapidly embrace reforms? Which is Russia trying to be the best country? Of course, the Russian AI failing to heavily industrialize looks bad in one lens and good in another. How do we interpret this? Should we condemn historical failings to become AI tendencies or expectations? The best answer I can come up with is that we want it so that if Russia fails, it is either as consequence of historical conditions or as a consequence of player actions. The game is working properly if Russia's weakness comes from serfdom, not from just never building a sulfur mine. Point being, bad AI might make the game easier or different, and in some sense potentially predictable in its own ways, hampering historical outcomes in others, but it also broadens player agency by leaving room, so to speak, for player excellence. That's not perfect, but it is the reality of these games and always will be. Power in these games is zero-sum, and thus it is grasped in the moments of another nation's failings. Agency is power. When people talk about bad AI, they usually do so with the impression of incompetent computer players, specifically when they don't take advantage of or even seem to know how to operate certain game mechanics. For example, AI England in EU4 being bad at transporting its troops, or sieges being abandoned moments before completion. And of course, from the player's view, England is only incompetent as an ally, and enemies always know when to stick to a siege. Or more specifically, scaring the AI off of a siege is a tactic. Outwitting the AI is gameplay. The AI has to make mistakes for the sake of gameplay. And from that, we can flip things and look at overcompetent AI as also bad. In general, when talking about games where the computer player is the main opponent, there are two extremes to ideally avoid. An AI so bad it needs tons of cheats, and a computer player that is simply too good at micro-intensive actions, too good at assessing risks, too aware of the odds, and so on. It's easy to program an overcompetent AI, and it's another thing entirely to program AI that hits a balance. Mind you, that's not me calling Paradox AI perfect or saying there's some advanced reason why Civ AI will kill its melee warriors against your walls before the siege equipment gets there, so much as that the AI has to fail sometimes to be good. With this, we have both sides covered and can move on to getting a grasp on how this all plays out with the strange case of Victoria 2 and a made-up ideology. To start, I'll caveat that while I think this comparison highlights things well, many of these lessons will apply to other Paradox games and different situations. This is not a Victoria-exclusive gameplay dynamic. With that, let's talk about control, command economies, and whatever an anarcho-liberal is. To start this case study of sorts, let's quickly...
Whatever an anarcho-liberal is. Well, let's look at the definition, shall we? What is an anarcho-liberal? Do you guys know the answer? I do. A leftist, proletariat, pro-proletariat, like a working man's proletariat who doesn't believe in law and order, just anarchy, which means that you suss out your own solutions. So if you want security, you hire a man and you give him a gun. If you want a banker, you hire a man and give him a gun. If you want food, you buy a farm, staff the farm, have them feed you. If you don't expect the grocery store to sell you anything, you just come up with that yourself. Now, am I doing that right now? No, because the system isn't anarchist, right? But what I'm really talking about is a sandbox. Think like Rust or something like that, or DayZ. You just make your living out of the side of the world, and the only property that's protected is protected by people who can protect it. Otherwise, you can just take it, frankly, because that's how life actually is. That's what life actually is, And so let's see what an anarcho-liberal is. It's a definition, right? Anarcho-liberalism No, I'm looking for what is anarcho-libertarian, not libertarian, but anarcho-liberal definition, right? What is the definition of an anarcho-liberal, right? Proto-anarchists, anti-authoritarians, anarchists, syndicalists, and similar such groups as a single faction. They were all basically the same people. Yeah, I exist. Yeah, we exist. There's a lot of us. You'd be surprised. Nope, neither of them behave anything like anarcho-liberals in Victoria 2, though, whose ideology seems much closer to modern right-wing libertarianism. Yep. So yeah, and what an anarcho-liberal is, like, what it is to me is a lot different to what it means to this guy, because he's like a fucking RTS guy. But I mean, I know what anarcho-liberal means to me. That's what I am. That's it's like literally, I've never heard it said so well, but I mean, like, yeah, it's I've heard people try before, but I've never heard it said so well. Yeah, I'm an anarcho-liberal. That'd be about right. It's not socialist, it's anarchist. Socialism doesn't work. Anarchy is the state of the current world. Right now, anything goes. You can do what you want, and if it hurts somebody, you face jail. You can pretty much do what you want. It's like pretty crazy. It's like the world is like, if you want to protect yourself from being robbed, if you're a marijuana grower, you hire a bunch of men with guns. It's the same thing. The same thing that I believe in is how the world is run. Anarcho-liberalism is how the world is run. It is the current political mindset of the entire world. You are free, like a liberal, to do as you want. If you aren't, you're in some communist country. You can drink yourself to death, smoke heroin till you die. Doesn't matter what you do. smoke opium. Doesn't matter what you do. It like doesn't matter what you do. Nobody's telling you what to do. That's anarcho. That's essentially anarcho-liberalism. We have a system of law all across the world in every single country in the world. So it is not anarcho. It's close to it, in the respect that anybody can violate the law willingly at any given time and kill anybody that they want. Don't believe me? Consult Uvalde, Texas. You know, anybody right now can walk into any mall and shoot up the mall, and that to me is essentially anarcho-liberalism. It is what the entire world is engaging in right now. It is the belief system that I believe in, and it's the one that we have. Does it make sense? Anything goes. It's not just a Cole Porter song. It's like anything goes. Trump, like Trump said, Trump could have walked down Saks Fifth Avenue and capped some American in the fucking head and still taken that presidency, because it's anything goes. He could cap somebody there, and he could do that. He could walk down Saks Fifth Avenue as Trump and cap somebody in the fucking face like he said he could. And that is true anarcho-liberalism. It's anything goes. You can do whatever you want in this world. Now, you might face jail because we're not anarchists. We're law-abiding citizens in this country. We're democracy, right? But I mean, in reality, we're anarcho-liberalists. We have the freedom to do whatever the fuck we want, whenever the fuck we want, and we do. And so now he's going to talk about some RTS thing, but anarcho-liberalism to me is being truthful about the state of the world. The state of the world is anarcho-liberalism. It's everybody doing whatever they want, be it a dictator, be it a fucking Mother Teresa. It doesn't matter, from Dalai Lama to, or whatever, not Dalai Lama, what's a good example? Mother Teresa to El Chapo. We still have anarcho-liberalism dictating what both of those people do, essentially. Now, God is not anarcho-liberalism, but it's kind of anarcho-liberalism in a way. You're just believing what you want to believe, you know? And so I think really the sole political fucking belief that this world has is anarcho-liberalism, the only one I'll admit to. I believe that at any time the cops could come in and shoot me in the face. I believe at any given time you could get hauled off a plane that you bought a ticket for. I believe that we listened to a video about it tonight. I believe that at any given time anybody can come to your home and shoot you in your fucking face unless you lock up that door and get that purge protection going or whatever. I pretty much believe that anybody could do this and probably will. And that sucks, you know? But that's the anarcho-liberal state of fucking affairs that the entire fucking world, if we're truthful with ourselves, that is the state that the world is existing in right now. It is anarcho-liberalism. Anybody can do anything. Now, they can't just stroll up in the country club looking like a fucking, like, tranked out beggar, you know, because you're going to get guys with guns preventing you. But you can try. There's no political system stopping you like a monarchy, like they might say. Monarchy doesn't care what you do. The president doesn't care what you do. He's going to tell you what your punishment is if it's something that he doesn't like, but he doesn't care what you do. Not really. And so the bottom line is that is like pretty much the purity of anarcho-liberalism. And to me, every time they talk about democracy or Republican or Democrat, they're just straight full-blown fucking lying to themselves. It's to the victor goes the spoils, as it's always been. Whoever's got the money and the guns wins. That's the reality. That's what whoever's got the most money and the biggest company fucking wins. That's how that goes. You know how it goes. You know the name of the fucking game. It's called survival of the fittest. You know, like Darwinism, right? So, like, now, now we try to pretend that we're tribalism right-wing or tribalism left-wing. Nope. You're all anarcho-liberals. When it comes down to it, you would shoot people to defend your family. If it came down to it, you would shoot people to get food. You would shoot people to, if it came down to it, You would do whatever the fuck you had to. You're an anarcho-liberalist, like liberal. No one wants to hear it, especially right-wingers. They don't want to hear it. But it is the fucking reality. To me, anarcho-liberalism isn't something about being a fucking liberal. It's this idea of actual freedom. Pretty much anybody at any given time can do anything. That's the actual state of affairs, right? That's the actual state of humanity right now. That is the prevailing politic of the people. It is anarcho-liberalism. Anybody can do anything, which is why we have Uvalde, Texas's. It's why we have Mother Teresa's. We have both good and bad, and anybody can do anything and anything in between. Anybody can do whatever they want, essentially. Anybody can become Pol Pot. Anybody can become fucking Kim Jong-il. Anybody can become Obama. Anybody can become, you know, it's kind of crazy. It is anarcho-liberalism. We don't have some fucking fucked up, like, retarded idea of democracy or republic. That's not, I mean, that's like, you know, I love Plato as much as the next man, but we don't have a fucking republic. We have an anarcho fucking liberalist commune.
Address the idea of anarcho.
Don't believe me? Consult Uvalde, Texas. Only an anarcho-liberalist would ever shut up somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? Only an anarcho-liberalist would have acted like Trump with 200 to 3,500 fucking felonies or whatever it is, 3,500 fucking lawsuits or whatever it is. Like, you know, only anarcho-liberalists act like that. Complete freedom, like me. Chaotic, neutral, complete freedom. Do whatever they want. Trump does whatever he wants. Anarcho-liberalism is the prevailing politic in this entire fucking world. And anybody who tells you differently is an idiot.
Liberalism. Liberalism as a political philosophy in its 19th century context means quite a few things and has different elements to it depending on where one was in the world.
And it's an important phrase that we almost never use. It's called freedom. The better word for it is freedom, right? Freedom is pretty much what the world is, believe it or not. If you want to get high on opium and die, you are free to do so. Like my man say from fucking Parks and Rec, right? If you want to drink fucking, you know, if you're of age, you want to drink whiskey, you are free to do so, right? If you want to vote libertarian, you are free to do so. You are free to do so in this country and many others. Freedom is the name of the fucking game. When you're talking freedom, you're talking anarcho-liberalism, which is the idea that anybody can do anything. There's no rule, there's no order, there's no law. I mean, there is law, so we're not really anarcho-liberalists, I suppose. We're just basically liberals. We're all liberals. We do whatever the fuck we want. That's the pure essence of liberalism. You do what you want. It's freedom and the pursuit of happiness. And, you know, that's all liberalism is. Live and let live. Let others do whatever they want to do. Stay out of it and love. That's it. I mean, that's pretty much what liberalism is. And love everything. It sucks, but it's hard. It's more Christian than Christian, I would say. And it's weird. Like that people that don't know what liberalism is, it's freedom. Liberality literally translate liberty literally translates to freedom. It means you have the freedom to do so. People think liberal is bad. No, liberal is the word liberty. It's literally it's the pronoun of somebody who believes in liberty. Freedom for butt sex, freedom for murder, freedom for fucking cartels, freedom for drugs, freedom for fucking conglomerates, freedom for fucking presidents, freedom for fucking monarchies, freedom for fucking 50 billion different fucking countries having 50 billion different fucking forms of government, 50 billion different fucking forms of religion. Liberalism is freedom. If you don't get it fucking twisted, you get it twisted with bleeding heart or pacifism or something like that. No, like pacifism is the freedom to not be violent. That's all it is. The freedom to not be violent. You have the freedom to not be violent. You do. You are in control of your limbs. If you don't want to pull a trigger, you don't have to pull a trigger. That's all liberalism is the freedom to not use violence. So basically, it's the freedom to use it. It's the freedom to not use it, which is why the Democrats didn't stop the guns. They don't care. They don't care about guns. They view that as a liberalism. It's a freedom. This is the thing the Republicans will never understand. They think we come to take their guns. Fuck no, we're liberals. We believe in motherfucking liberty, motherfucker. We believe in your right to do anything you want to do. We believe in our butt sex and our gay marriage. And we believe in anything that you want to do short of rape, child molestation, fraud, murder, you know, the 10 Commandments, seven deadly sins kind of thing. Like, do you like stay away from harming children and hurting people and scamming people and thievery, that kind of thing where it really hurts somebody. Don't be doing that stupid shit, you know? But no, liberals believe in what's called, what we used to believe is liberty. You are free and at liberty to fucking read Mein Kampf if you want. You know, the people view us as like the problem. I don't know about that. All we do is believe in liberty. That's it. That's all it basically is. It's hard to describe it as anything else. You think it has to do with gay marriage or something like that? No, we just believe in the fucking freedom of it. That's it. We don't support some of that stuff necessarily. Some of us, anyways. We do. I do. But I mean, like this, I would guarantee you're going to meet a bunch of liberals who don't. And you want to know why? It's because they aren't about some fucking thing about some statement about right or wrong. They're about liberty. They believe in the liberty of it. Trust me, they believe in the liberty of getting high. They believe in the liberty of getting, you know, married if you're gay. They believe in, like, we believe in the liberty of things. That's what the core of it actually is. It gets twisted all of the fucking time. But trust me, the entire world is anarcho-liberalist, and is just as likely to kiss you as kill you. You know what I'm saying? The entire world operates on the same exact fucking political spectrum that I do, which is anarcho-liberal. I'm just the only one motherfucking honest enough to actually say it. Yeah, it's got all kinds of communist fucking connotations, community, yep. It's got all kinds of fucked up anti-American sentiment in it. It fucking sucks, anarcho-liberalism. It sucks to be one. Sucks to get an anarchy symbol on your fucking hand at the age of 13, you know what I'm saying? Against all authority and all this being your main, like fucking, your main modus operandi on your thought cycles at that time is against all authority, you know what I'm saying? I am at the liberty to do whatever the fuck I want. The authority can't tell me I can't or not. And if I kill someone, imprison me, but I'm at the freedom to do so. I'm at the freedom to do that. It sucks, but it is a reality. You know, I'm at the freedom to do it. It's kind of, it's the more mature view of liberalism. It's just liberty. That's it. Liberty in the pursuit of justice or whatever, pursuit of happiness. It's the reality that hopefully people are just going to do what they want to do, whether you like it or not. And we used to believe in liberty in this country. Now it's like a bad fucking word. Liberal and liberty. Yeah, it's kind of like a bad word now. It's not good. You done fucked up with that one. Fucked up. Lost your way with your thinking thoughts and your spaghetti code. Up there, spaghetti head. You know? Like, it's just, yeah. Komomo had a problem with saying shitheads. He used to call a lot of people on the internet shitheads. Then he had kids. Then he started calling them spaghetti heads. But I thought, man, that's a good fucking phrase, though, spaghetti heads. Because, yeah, it's the word shithead, and it's censored. But it's also what their heads are. It's spaghetti. They don't have their fucking head straight. They don't know what liberty is. They think it's guns or something. Huh. Liberties, don't guns. Yep. I don't want to hear a liberal say differently. Liberalness is the liberty to own guns. I love guns. That's a real liberal for your fucking ass. Not some fucking social democrat. And it's not a bad thing either. An anarcho-liberal.
There are some core tenets of liberalism one can point to, and they do help us guess at what...
Which is opium.
Anarcho-liberal...
Give me my opium and my butt sex, you know, and my prostitution, and my vices, and my gambling, and my fucking church. Give me my church. I don't care if I worship Allah. I want my church, you know. Liberalism is all the nice things in life. Yep. I like the devil's juice. You know, drink it all the time. I like the devil's weed, smoke it all the time.
means in the Victoria
like whatever. It's that I am at freedom to do so. You can't stop me. You could try. You could pretend that some drug war would work, but did it?
context. Liberalism on paper is the belief in the
You
supremacy
can pretend
of
that the prison industrial system works, but did it? Oof, you guys fucked it up pretty bad.
individual liberties and their
Your law and order, for law and order's sake.
enshrinement in some form of social contract, often in practice taking the form of constitutions. In the 19th century, the cause of democratizing could vary from the more radical anti-monarchists to more in favor of constitutional
Fuck the monarchy.
and also vary in terms of national.
Nepotism is terrible. I want my friend Dave to be king.
These causes overlapped to an extent, and it's why the 1848 Springtime of the Peoples is also referred to as the Springtime of Nations. Important to the ideology of liberalism, however, is some form of codification, of enshrinement.
I'd open every cell in Attica, send him to fucking Africa, and I'd make my friend Dave king, because he's the only British person that I know right now. But or no, two I know two. I would make I'd make my friend Smithy motherfucking prime minister, and I'd make my friend Dave king.
Enshrinement of rights into law.
Dave's got a good heart, and that's what it takes to be king. And yeah, my other friend Smithy's got a good brain. That's what it takes to be a prime minister. Well, no, it doesn't take that, does it?
Now, I'm going to explain Victoria 2's anarcho-liberals with only the slightest exploration of the anarcho side of things.
Yeah, which is fuck your laws. I like my butt, sex, and weed, and I'm not gonna fuck around with you. Don't be telling me what to do. And don't be nailing edicts on my fucking church walls, and we're all good.
Monarchy on its most literal level means absent a leader.
Yeah, absence of leader. I don't need you to tell me what to do, motherfucker. This whole town, they're gonna get drunk and fuck and screw and make babies and fund churches and build houses and live and make libraries and be a village in a town. They don't need you to tell them what the fuck to do. Very seldom is that necessary. Tell us to what? Go to war most times. That's mostly what they do. Tell us to go to war. That's what they do. They take our money and they tell us to go to war. That's basically what governments do.
Means one leader. Oligarch.
Yeah, you understand true anarchy? It's not some fucking punk fad. It's this belief that leadership most of the time is actually counterproductive. It's good when you got one person, you know? One person, maybe. A person is smart, but people are dumb. What is that? That's Men in Black.
Means few leaders and so on.
Fucking Tommy Lee Jones character K from Men in Black.
I don't have space here to get into
good movie.
To the nuance of how this word is applied and misapplied, but just know that in this case it's likely a misapplication.
Do you see how I mentioned earlier I speak in fucking television fucking one-liners? I have to drop all my references now because most people have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. My inner circle would. My inner circle wouldn't miss a fucking word. They'd know everything I was talking about and what my fucking references were and everything. I speak in a television one-liner language. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like Karma Police. Arrest this man. His he buzzes like a fridge. It's like a radio, right? And that's kind of how it is for me. I'm like I don't know, it's weird. It's like if you speak in one-liners, the people don't know because they're too young. You sound like a crazy person. But anybody my age would know. Anybody my age would know. I speak in a 40-year-old's like slanguage because I'm a man-child, and I speak in television fucking quotes, and I think a certain age of generation from like, oh god, it would be, 1979 till 2004. Would get my references. Anybody no, not even no, it's not even. It's like 1979 to like 1999, right about there. Yeah, it's not that long. It's like 20 years or something like that. If you watch television in those 20 years, you're gonna get my references. in my movies, in my fucking songs, and my lyrics references, and the bands that I like, and the fucking in the jazz from the 50s and all this shit. If you're good at the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, you'll understand my fucking references. I'm horrible at the fucking aughts. I tuned out entirely and did a raid career for 10 years. I wasn't in my band. I didn't listen to a lot of music really. I mean, I kind of did, but not really. And like, you know, and I listened to a lot of Metric.
Way, it's more anarchy means an absence of government.
It's like absence of government, and which in most cases is actually a good thing. It sucks when the government needs to be there, frankly. Like a tribe can often run itself. It like maybe it might take an elder, but I mean a tribe will often run itself. It doesn't need the government. You know?
Absence of hierarchy, especially given the government they enact is bourgeois despotism.
And they'll be much happier, better, more enlightened people with better educations and doing better off for it too. They'll be better off for it too. The government is a major source for fucking depression in a lot of Americans' lives. A lot. It's a major source of depression in a ton of our lives. And I've never understood it. It never needed to be that up in our business. I think we needed it to be, but it sucks that it is. You know, I think we needed it to be. I'll give the credit where it's justice, it's law, it's order, it's the thread back through the Minotaur's maze of madness as the Minotaur chases us, you know, to get us out of this fucking mess is law and order essentially. It's like what gets us out of all of this. But the problem is, like, when the laws have essentially choked your culture and put them all in jail, you have got overzealous. Now, I don't know. Maybe everybody should be in jail, I guess. I don't know. Who am I to say they shouldn't be if they're rapists and killers and murderers and scam artists and just all this shitty shit? You know, the devil, straight devil spawn. Like, you know, I don't know. Maybe they should be, but I don't think so. I think this is the result of poverty and the lack of caring in our fellow man. It's a government instead of a system that fosters the people. Good band.
Now, given the absence of government approach, how does that square away with 19th century liberalism and the social contract? Well, it sort of doesn't.
It doesn't.
Or rather, the social
it
contract
doesn't.
that these people present.
There's no social
extreme
contract. There is no such thing as a social fucking contract. The first thing to go, if there's ever anarchy, is the social contract. There's no such thing. That is a myth. Hey, I despise the idea of it. We have a social contract when there's no war. The minute that there's war, we don't have a social contract anymore. It's everybody's enlisted, everybody's involved, everybody's gonna go protect the homeland. They tell us to go to war, we do. And trust me, we don't have a social contract. We have some modified version of serfhood. I would say it's like serfhood in a way. We pay the government helps us, and it's cool. But I mean, like, I wouldn't say any of us are particularly safe. I don't feel that there is a social contract. I don't think there's any difference between me and a victim at Uvalde, except for chance. That's it.
Of the old adage, the government that
there's
governs...
no social contract. There's no safety. There's no I believe that they're gonna try and help me as long as they exist. And I believe this the way I believe the sun is gonna rise tomorrow, or I would be out hustling right now. Right now. I told my mother this. I was like, I believe that they have committed to helping me for the rest of my life and that they believe that they want to. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take the fucking help even though I'm too proud to do it. And I'm going to take the fucking help, right? And I was like, but it's a trip for me because normally I would not trust them to do it. I would not trust them to do it. And I really should be out hustling right now. And she was like, no, you need to relax. You need to get sober. You need to stop. You need to stop. You need to do something new. You need to change. You need to do all this stuff about change, all that stuff. She was like, you need to change. You need to change. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I just was normally I will go out and on the assumption that on the anarcho-liberal fucking assumption that nobody's gonna pay my fucking way. Now I've got the fucking opposite, which is so weird for me. It's never been like that for me. I have my mother. That was it. I had like my mother buying me packs of smokes every once in a while, maybe a pizza here and there. Definitely paid some rent and definitely paid some bills and bailed me out of jail and shit like that. Definitely did as mothers do. But like, no, I didn't live off her not that much of my life. I really didn't. And, it's like this thing where, like, I don't know, normally I would have just made hay while the sun is shining, assuming that the winter was coming, but they were like, no, you can relax. You've been through the war. You're damaged and you've been through the war. They treat me like they do, like an injured veteran now.
Least governs best. The anarcho-liberals are essentially against government intervention in anything.
Fucking anything. If you want good parks and recreation, charge admission to the parks and pay someone to protect the parks. If you want legislation, pay for judges to do so. If you want, literally, this weird thing about, like, if you need these things in your life, go get them yourself. Teach a man to fish. They'll eat for, give a man a fish, they'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, they'll eat forever. And that's the difference. That's the fucking difference. It is libertarian. It comes across as libertarian, but it is not. I do not fall libertarian. Not whatsoever. No.
As to why they're in the game, it's because each of the ideologies...
No. Libertarianism is a government. Now, isn't it?
Has its extreme version. Conservatives have
so is anarchism, kind of. It's the absence of government. It's the black hole that's left after you take care of your own problems.
Socialists have
And yeah, if you can't fix your own teeth out in the meadow, then you shouldn't have gotten a tooth injury. If you can't fucking shoot your dinner, then you shouldn't eat. If you can't fucking... if you can't swim, then don't go near a river. If you can't swim, pay somebody to teach you. I don't think I don't know why we should coddle our children out of important life skills such as survival. I would say schools in a schoolhouse, essentially, I would say about half the time. Okay, you know what is a good model? It's like from, I would say, 7 in the morning until about 11 in the afternoon. Or I'm sorry, in the morning. Yeah, about 4 hours, right? Really slam them and force them to learn and really get them tested and really make sure they verify that information. They're getting good shit, like a Yale quality education. The other, like the next 3 hours, they do lunch and recreation and recess. And then the last bit of the day, they help hunt or work or do something. And I'm not proposing child labor. I'm proposing that they learn how to be a human being. Because I don't think the schools are doing it. I think the schools are teaching Uvalde, Texas.
And of course, liberals have anarcho-liberals. I've seen it suggested
and so,
before.
Yeah, there's no such thing as anything but an anarcho. There's no such thing as anarcho anything but liberal, because it's like this idea that, like, you don't tell me what to do ever.
Or that replacing their nonsensical type.
You don't tell me I can't do drugs. You can't tell me you can't tell me. Okay, if you want to tell me that I can't kill a man, then show up with a gun and tell me that that you'll shoot me if I kill a man, right? And put a cop on the street. Do it. And tell me that I can't kill a man, and I won't, right? But generally, there's nothing to stop me from killing a man. I'm not saying I will. I'm not making threats. I'm not like that. I'm not saying that it's a light subject or that I'm making light of it. I'm saying that how the natural state of affairs is in science and in nature and in everything that is reality is that, every breath is earned. Every meal is earned. Everything is earned. You must put the food on the table. You must be a man about it. Like, now I'm on the government dole, which was the last thing I ever thought would happen for me. I woke up out of a 5-day coma. They were talking about government doctors and maybe helping me and stuff, PTSD and all this shit, Like, that wasn't my idea. I didn't go looking for that. And like, now I'm like, okay, the one thing that I don't believe in, which is government, is the one thing that's helping me. And everybody that I did believe in is gone. And my worst enemy is my only friend. Well, my mother's my friend, and I have a lot of friends. But I mean, like, they aren't helping me. My mother's helping me and the government's helping me, but the rest of my friends are busy with their own lives, which I want them to be. That is the natural state of things. I have no regrets. No, I'm not shaming them. They should be taking care of them and theirs. That's how life works, right? But it's still like, my family was my friends. So when they're busy with their family, I don't have a family. So, this is all I've got left. The government was very aware that my father was dead. Most of my family was dead. I've got one surviving family member that would ever take me in. Grandparents are out of the picture, all 4 of them. Everybody's fucking gone. Cousins have excommunicated us for no good goddamn reason at all, just like all the other bullies in the world. And it makes no fucking sense, any of it. And the government saw this. They can see it. They see a broken home, no hope, starvation, drug addiction, loss, and all this stuff, and they want to help me, and that's cool. But like, god damn, that's weird from, like, I believe in them now, and I'll vote. I have and will, and I have always voted for them. I've always voted, never not voted. And I'm thinking about that now. I'm thinking about not voting, but I don't know. That makes me an ingrate, kind of. If they're helping me, I better vote for them. And Jesus Christ, man, like, that goes against pretty much every core fiber of my fucking punk fucking being. You know what I'm saying? Punk rock changed our lives, and like, I actually really did like subscribe to a lot of punk rock stuff. To me, it's like almost like Madhouse stuff talking this, because it's like you can spin circles about it forever. But trust me, the often, almost always, they say you're a libertarian. Fuck no, I'm not. My worst enemy is my best friend. Fuck no, I'm not. Yeah, libertarians aren't going to fix that.
Title with the term
getting rid of the government is.
Radicals, like in the Jacobin sense, might fix the historical issues of the faction, but that only creates further complications. We'll get there. Let's start with how the anarcho-liberals even take power in the first place, and the ways players are empowered or disempowered in that process.
They don't. We don't. We say there is no power, but see, in the game, it's going to be different. It's going to be libertarian, right? But I mean, true anarcho-liberalism is like, well, if you need something done, like a world war, then go mine a bunch of metal, pay a bunch of miners, and get a bunch of sulfur and get a bunch of gunpowder and go make bombs and get planes together and go fight a war. But I'm not going to do that for you. I'm too smart to fight. I'm too smart to die, to quote the great Anti-Flag. For somebody who doesn't believe in any more order than I do.
Process and compare it to Victoria 3. In Victoria 2, there are 2 relevant population values when it comes to the discontent of a population: militancy and consciousness. Militancy is the discontentedness itself, the political will to change one's...
Fuck militancy. That, you know what I think when I hear the word militancy is the next word. It's you D, you fail, your grade is a D. You know what comes next, right? Death. Militancy equals death.
Situation, while consciousness is like a... How do I explain this without just...
You like death?
About class consciousness, which feels like using the word to describe the definition. Okay, so consciousness is essentially both how aware a pop is of their position and why their needs aren't met, and how targeted and informed a pop is with their militancy. Put another way, a non-conscious pop won't vote in its own interests, won't rebel in its own interests. This leads to a situation in Victoria 2 where one can use the militancy accrued by war exhaustion to push liberalizing reforms that nobody asked for as a downright reactionary government. The system isn't perfect. Militancy means people might revolt. Consciousness makes militancy based on unmet needs and poverty more likely. That's the idea. The crux of what makes this relevant to us is that from the player perspective, revolts seem either trivial or extreme. because either a very small group of conscious people get militant and are easily crushed, or you're later into the game that heavily incentivizes improving literacy and thus consciousness, and that makes militancy a sensitive value. And then there's the fact that you get shown an average militancy for your country, which might say 1, but then a given movement has a militancy of 7. The average isn't very useful. When coupled with the fact that militancy goes up from 1 to 9, but values 1 through 6 have no effect, the revolts can feel
Okay, guys, I'm going to come back to this tonight. Yeah, tonight. It is 1 o'clock. I've been at this for 17 and a half hours. I'm going to be a sane person and stop now. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Just a reminder, you've been watching Skycat Live, and I want to thank you for watching me when I can't watch you. I'm too busy doing my stream, you know? Thank you for watching me when I can't watch you, and I love you. Thank you so much. So, just a reminder, you've been watching Skycat Live. Oh, yeah, it took me to the fucking sexy voice. Yeah, sexy Julian voice, you know? I'm going to talk to you in my sexy, sexy Julian voice. Yeah. Yeah, oh, there I am. Oh, I'm so sexy. Look at me. Oh, yeah, I'm so hot. Thank you for watching Skycat Live, and just a reminder, come to skycat.live. That is my website. I'm a full-time variety gamer, all day, every day. Put me on in the background. Click on the cat space to donate. I'm on Twitch. Sub to me on Twitch. Sub to me on YouTube. Give me your money. Give me your money. Give me your money. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Like, I'm not kidding. Give me your money. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye. Stop all. Yes, I want to discard. Yes. Yes. Discard the delay. No, don't discard that delay. No. So, okay, and now we must produce for like an hour. Got a lot of videos today. Nice storm. It's good.